Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're fucking live.
It's absolutely insane. There's 20 people waiting.
I know.
23 people waiting.
Oh, we love them, but
Oh, we love them, but I'm genuinely taken aback that this is a thing.
should
You're crazy.
probably make sure that we're not getting the audio playing through the stream like that. Yeah, that helps.
Have you killed everything?
Yeah, so everything should be working. Hang on, what am I doing? So the problem, I should point this out to everybody that has tuned in for this. The problem with going live is that we can't do like the normal thing. So we can't have the intro video, and we can't do the Ormsby ad in the same way that we could normally.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, someone's saying no sound. But I can see sound. Can people hear me?
Can anybody else hear us? Yeah. We've got a thumbs down already. Fucking yes.
I'm going to keep talking until someone confirms that we've got sound.
If anyone can tell us a yeah or a nay, because we're kind of at the behest of technology, as well, you know. How's everyone keeping? If you can hear me, use a thumbs up or whatever in the chat. Let me know if you're keeping well.
I don't know why I'm doing it that way, because
I can hear you. I can hear you very low sound. Sounds fine.
Hang on, I can test the sound. Check this. Yeah.
ADG, thanks for coming. Don't worry about not being able to stay. Thanks everybody for the confirmations that you can hear us.
Yeah, sound's working. Everything's going fine. So, as I was saying,
Check your YouTube volume on the player. Check
Sure.
the volume on your Windows, and check the volume on your interface or whatever you're using.
Yeah.
Please.
So the problem with doing a show live like this is we can't do. I mean, if we'd prepared, we walked into my studio like 5 minutes before we were due to go live because we are drinking.
Mm-hmm. Slangevar.
Oh, and I'm pretty half cut.
Credit where credit's due, man. That is a fucking good old fashioned.
But what we can do is we can do the intro music for everyone like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll do.
Yeah, it's nothing.
So that was probably a bit louder than it needed to be.
Sorry, Trips. That was probably like lug killer. There's Sean Smith, a wild Sean Smith.
Sean Smith.
The concern of North Lanarkshire's parents. That's what that boy is.
Yeah, I love Sean Smith.
You know what? We talk about mental health a lot at the time. This man is a fucking beacon of hope for anybody. The big man's absolutely turned his life about in the last year or so.
Yes.
Looking after himself and just being the most handsome bastard in Wishaw.
Yes.
Absolutely. So big love to Sean. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody for tuning in.
100%.
Had way too much to drink to be able to say this. At some point on the show, I just want to say this. So Daniel over at Dead World Audio has donated this, I've not got autofocus on, this stunning Duality DX from Dead World Audio. We are going to be giving this away.
I could do it manually.
Go on,
we're half cut. It'll be a laugh.
Do it.
What could possibly go wrong?
It's a bit at the back.
Yeah. Maybe sing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
So we're going to be giving this away to somebody in the live stream tonight. Again, a little bit of planning could have gone in order. So...
What's planning about it? What a laugh. That's fairly well focused. That's all right.
Yeah, cool. So we'll be giving this away at some point tonight. I'm sure spontaneously will come up. I've got some ideas, but that should be fun. And yeah, we're just going to sit here, talk about music, have some fun, drink.
And speak to all you beautiful people that for some reason decided to tune in. 54 people watching at this point. Like, I love yous all. I love that you all would spend a Monday night with us two degenerates, probably making an arse ourselves at some point.
Yeah, and yeah, the pair of two. We are only 2 drinks deep, to be fair. But it is worth pointing out that these are, when I say double measures, they're double measures, but the measures themselves are 50ml measures. So each one of these has 100ml in.
So double.
So we've been, yeah. We're getting in. We're definitely getting in, which is fun. So we have a couple of things to talk about tonight, but we are going to be led by you. So if there are any suggestions of things that you would like to hear us talk about, if there are questions that you have always had for the Guitar Souls, please do let us know in that comment section. We are going to be reading them, and we will be reading out comments and doing all that good stuff.
I'm loving this. We're getting so much chat already. Just to answer a couple of quick questions. That Ormsby is fucking beautiful. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Dan, old fashions, well spotted, mate. And Levi has somehow became the best barman I know. Honestly, you alchemist.
Quarantines, mate.
An
Lockdowns.
Alchemist. An alchemist.
If there's one thing that I've got good at during quarantine, certainly not music. I've got good at consuming alcohol.
It's your birthday, Ross. Happy birthday, mate. Happy birthday to Ross in the chat every day.
Yeah. big cheers to
Many happy
Ross.
returns.
We've
Many
got
happy
some
returns.
we've got some news that we're going to announce tonight, which is kind of cool, kind of exciting, and yeah, we'll get onto that later. But yeah, we just want to say thank you so much. Of course, this is episode 100. We have been doing this podcast for 100 episodes now, and I know to people like Dan Smith in the chat, like Dan's like, so what? The Guitar Hour podcast has been going much longer than that in terms of episodes. There was a long period of this podcast where we weren't doing an episode regularly every week.
It's true.
In fact, we weren't even doing them regularly like every 3 weeks. Like sometimes we were really inconsistent. We've fallen into a lovely a rhythm with them now, and they're
That's a good
coming
way
out
to put
every week. And yeah, so it's been just over 3 years we've been doing the podcast for now. And yeah, 100 episodes.
We've been fucking blessed. The amount of people who have tuned in, even commented, people that are here tonight, the support and love we've got from Ormsby Guitars, the other companies we've had beautiful relationships with, Daniel at Deadwald, obviously, guys at Rev, like Hosa. We're so lucky. So lucky. So lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. So unbelievably blessed. And of course, we do it all for you guys. So thank you very much for your support. See K-Mac in the chat. How's it going with the
Brother.
famous McLaughlin?
Happening. He keep me upstage me already.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like without fail, at least once a week, someone drops a comment on one of the Guitar Souls videos saying your host really looks like K-Mac.
I get that everywhere I go gigging. I've told you this before. I was in like fucking, where was I? Was it Lithuania, I believe, if not Vienna. We're at the hotel afterwards, and this guy who was in a band that was playing at the gig as well, who was Estonian, was getting really excited, and he's like, "Oh, you're Scottish, do you know K-Mac? You know Vaha Rabba, the song he did was the Harp Machine one? That means free money in Estonian." I was like, "Aye, K-Mac's my brother." And people would just lose, it just happens, they lose their shit. They just lose it.
Yeah, it's nice. We get a lot of requests to have him back on the show, obviously, so I'm sure we can we'll probably try and make that happen at some point.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Easy for you to say.
Yeah, no, nothing's easy for me to say when I've consumed this much alcohol.
That's early.
I know. I'm
Only
constantly
10
making
minutes
jokes
in.
on the podcast about like being an alcoholic now, but it's not. I'll have a cocktail, and that's me, and I'm quite happy after a cocktail. So two in, and things are going to be hairy. When I get to the fourth, things are going to be.
I don't think I'm going to fare up much better.
Yeah.
There's also still well, I mean, I know there's multiple bottles of whiskey in your kitchen, but I got a beautiful bottle of Balvenie gifted to me. Thanks very much, Sarah. You're a star. And that was going to be tonight's drinks, but then Levi's like, "No, I'm going to make cocktails. I'm going to look after us." And then we had a beautiful meal cooked by Levi and Melissa. Thanks very much, Melissa. And then I got to get a wee private concert with her, which was
I put her on the spot.
amazing. Credit where credit's due. She took being on the spot and just went, "Okay, I'll deal with it," and was madness, man. Madness. It's no wonder you're just besotted all the time.
I know. It makes me want to vomit how besotted I am, but you know, such is life.
It's nice though. It's like watching her perform, and I was just watching you more than I was watching Melissa, because I'm like, I can see the big man beaming
like...
for the inside out. It's cute.
Yeah. Well, it's I'll say something semi-controversial here. It's just the nature of, and like obviously, well, I'll make the full-on joke because if you know Kieran's still in the chat. When you have any modicum of success in the music business, there are people that will latch on to you and try and be around you so they can kind of ride the coattails of that success, right? So we want K-Mac on the show not just because he's your brother and he's good fun, but because that will be a boost for our signal. So it's beneficial to us, and it's not often I get a real sense of spending a lot of time around someone. And Melissa is that person where I look at her musical talents and I'm like, oh, I'm getting on these coattails.
Understandable.
I'm riding this one right to the top.
In the dining room, no. I mean, I played piano years ago, but I always stand in front of all these unbelievable musicians that blow me off the stage, and then 2 seconds later, she's just straight into it, like no warm up, nothing, just and starts singing. Like, fucking behave yourself.
Yeah, and
in the nicest way.
That I'll make reference to that song, and I encourage people to go and check it out. It's from her album Love Letters to the Master, and the song is called Love Letters to the Master, and it's a gloriously dark feminist anthem, and you know about the shame that's put on women and how they're expected to be and how they shouldn't need to bow to a master. And the lyric in there that kills me every single time is the pretty girls with filthy eyes, thou shalt not fuck and tell no lies. And just there's something about somebody delicately singing the line thou shalt not fuck. You don't hear fuck too often in songs, you know what I mean?
Not often enough.
Yeah, and I like it. It's a good line, so check that one out. Should we talk about some news stories then?
Let's do it. I mean, we're kind of flying by the seat of your pants tonight, to be totally honest, everybody, because I think we wanted to just be doing some silly things. For example, Kieran taking over the chat with the fucking memes.
The king of the memes.
I just want to address a couple of things that have been commented
Sure.
in. Chris Jordan, K-Mac can come on any episode he wants. The problem is Kieran is Kieran. He doeth he want, and that's it. I was like Alistair Crowley. He just lives by these own laws of the land. I say that as if he's like a bad person. No, Kieran just does him.
I jump on that one. I actually love seeing
You have to type the name of the album in chat, please, for somebody.
Sure. I love seeing Kieran do his thing with his career and the YouTube thing, because his upload schedule, he's not fallen into like, oh, I need to hit a regular upload thing like some YouTubers do. He clearly just does what he wants to do when he wants to do it, and I like that. It's genuine, rather than that sense of like, oh, it's Tuesday, so I've got to upload a video type thing. And that, even for me, like, because of my Patreon, I have a sort of obligation to upload a set amount of videos to make sure those guys are getting content. And it's stressful. It is stressful because I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do now? Like, I'm not motivated. What the hell am I going to do? Kieran just does what Kieran wants to do. And that means that every time he uploads a video, it's genuine. So, or he's found something genuinely funny. Anyway, let me talk to him.
I can't believe the amount of content that Kieran doesn't put out that he still makes, because obviously I lived with him, considering he was my younger brother, but he's been doing this since before I moved out of the house. He's been recording, writing stuff, programming stuff. It all started off with a grind project. I think Kieran was about 13 at the time, and literally a USB microphone for Poundland. Not even a USB microphone, sorry, it's one that had like a total tiny 3.5mm jack to go in the front of like your tower, right? And Kieran recorded every instrument on this. And the project was the Enrique Palazzo Fun Time Reality Band. It might still be online. It was on MySpace, and the album cover was a horse, if I remember correctly. Kieran, do a live react to this stream. That'd be some laugh. Manuel, I'm not going to release any spoilers just yet, I'm afraid, but I'll tell you, I was in the studio yesterday, myself, Craig, and Chris, the other guitarist and the bass player, and we're just correcting a couple of things on the guitar tracks, and they are sounding fucking ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. There's a couple of wee bits once we got like a really rough pre-production bounce that we weren't too happy with. So we went over every track, got the bits that we weren't too happy with, punched in and checked, and it's ridiculous, man. It's such a ridiculous bit. It's a ridiculous lot of music, not even a bit.
Yeah.
The only thing I can tell you is there's a song that's really heavily influenced by Defeated Sanity, and if that means anything to you, essentially it means that no riff will repeat ever. Just about. It's insane. So I'm looking forward to it, which will be really good. I'm not going to tell you the album. I'm not going to give you any hints on the album cover while we're asking people for pictures of them being sick or any release dates. But do know we are working very hard on it, and it should be out soon, which would be lovely. Yavor, that wasn't even a solo, mate. That's one of the licks in the middle of one of the riffs, and it's so mental that I essentially had to get, like, I think it was George to put his hand on my neck so that I wasn't getting string noise while I jumped those strings. It was fucking killer. Killer. That's not nice, Andy. Cover my face.
Yeah. So let's talk about... No, hang on. Before we do the talking about things, guys, so we've got 82 people watching the show now, which is fantastic. This is episode 100. It is a special one because we're going live. It's a special one because we're having a drink.
And I'm going to be probably more visibly sober than Levi. Maybe not for long.
Yeah. I'm pretty loose-lipped at the best of times, you know?
Yes.
Mainly because I don't give a fuck what people think.
Because you're going to get cancelled tonight.
Exactly. So there will come a point on this show where people will be able to ask me... people can ask me questions that normal people wouldn't answer at any time, and I'm going to answer them. But yeah, if you want to hear the controversial stuff, tonight is the night. Because of that, it would be really, really useful if you guys could share this stream.
Yes.
Share it on Facebook. Share it on MySpace. Why not? That's still a thing, I'm sure. Share it on Reddit. They don't like us over there.
No, they don't. I posted in guitars, and before it even fucking uploaded, they went, "Yeah, I've been banned."
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm glad that guitar content isn't allowed.
Yeah, you can't keep us down. You can't keep good guys down. The show was watched live by like 114 people last week. So that's like momentum. That's shit that's happening.
Yavor, don't you dare Sorry, I get really distracted. He's talking about posting Jacob Rees-Mogg videos. Don't you dare. How dare you?
And of course, because Yavor is a mod, he can post links.
Yes, he's a bad man. Just above him, thanks for tuning in, Bailey. Love you, big man. Scapegoat. Scapegoat.tv. Go and give him a follow. I mean, straight for the goat's mouth, I suppose. We're very lucky that Bailey came and filmed pretty much all the sessions we've had in the studio so far, and it's really good, man. Really
Name Redacted is telling me to get a scripted apology ready for tomorrow, and that will never happen because my diehard policy when it comes to things like that is never apologise.
Yep.
Never apologise. Don't let blood in the water, because if you apologise to two people, they see that blood in the water, thousands smell the blood and come rushing for you. So yeah, as much as I dislike Rob, I enjoyed the fact that he did the apology video, because that's inevitably what happens anytime there's an apology.
Are they ever really actually apologies? Are we going to get into that so early?
No.
Because I'm totally down for it. They never are. And again, I hate to fucking reference him being the better of the two McLaughlins, but young Kieran, with his apology, a YouTube apology of the game video, fuck off. You're like, sometimes I think your content's like Chris Morris or Barn Sasha Cohen. It's just so punching at the right people all the time.
Yeah.
I'm jealousy, prick. Getting on, love you.
So, let's talk about our first story for this evening.
Yes.
We are going to talk about the Fender Acoustic Jazzmaster. Now, I know we should probably open this by pointing out that Levi has a fuck Fender policy at the moment.
Sorry, I'm getting excited with the chat.
So we shouldn't be talking about things that Levi has a fuck Fender policy with.
A bamnesty.
Yeah. But the reason we're going to talk about this is because I'm sure everybody watching the chat has seen over the last week or so the Fender Jazzmaster Acoustasonic Jazz. I forget what it's called. If you follow YouTube channels that make any guitar related content, it has been absolutely fucking everywhere.
And there hasn't been a single recommended video a page of recommended videos that don't have at least two people playing that guitar.
Yeah, even down to things like Ola England doing a Will It Gent. You know what I mean? Like, that is just so like not an Ola product, but it needed to be on his channel, and everybody needs to focus on the fact that all these videos dropped on the exact same fucking day, and it just highlights the thing that I'm constantly talking about, and that's this idea that when you subscribe to all these YouTube channels, these music YouTubers, they could not care less about entertaining you. They only care about having enough numbers so they can get the big paychecks to advertise products to you. And it makes me want to be actually sick. Actually sick. I will never think of these people that are listening to this show now as the thing that we market to. In the long run, and we're going to announce a subscription Guitar Souls type thing over the coming week. The idea is, it's the same with my Patreon. I'm independent. I don't need financial support from manufacturers or from whoever it happens to be, because the only people I answer to are the people that watch my content, not the other way around. I don't answer to an advertiser, and I like that about the way I do things. And this show will always be that. If if it turns out that Perry Ormsby does something horrendous in public,
I don't see it happening, but you're right.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to draw attention to it.
I think beyond even all of that, you and I got on so well as people because I think we both value integrity and honesty, even at the point where you and I could be almost fighting about a topic, but it's never personal, and it's never because if you think that this or whatever. And I know I'm divisive in some of my comments, right? I get that. That's fair. Don't mean to be, but I am. But I think you and I have that shared respect for honesty and integrity, and it's a word you've used many, many, many times. Integrity.
Yeah. And
I would feel the same, and that's why I'm quite glad that we've never had to do anything like this, because we've never really. We don't need to. I don't want to say bend the knee, but we do what we do, and we're really lucky that people want to come and tune in and be here for us. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Yeah. I know it's a comment here from Liam, that says Ola didn't get paid for your information, right? And of course, every single time you see product placement on YouTube, I'm not going to say it's always paid for, but every single time you see product placement on YouTube, there's a business opportunity there. And what I can tell you from knowing the sponsors that I deal with, the companies that I have relationships with, I know exactly how much Ola charges them if they want to send him a guitar for him to feature on the channel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That number will come down if you are a tiny, small, independent company, and that number is going to go up if you have a big budget. If you are Fender, you have a very, very big budget, and there is no doubt in my fucking mind that there's been some sort of benefit to that product being on his channel. Even if money didn't exchange hands, there has been some sort of benefit. We don't know what that benefit is. It could be some sort of hookup with a contact that deals in manufacturing out where he's having the solo guitars manufactured. There will be some benefit, because there is no benefit to Ola having that guitar on his channel for Ola.
Networking and
Yeah.
Can't think of the word I was going to say. Networking and I suppose resource management, just mingling.
So I don't believe for a second that money didn't change hands, but if that was the case, there's still been some sort of benefit there, and it just irks me. It irks me, and I'm very open about this. Like, I don't actually subscribe to a lot of music channels on YouTube because when I use YouTube and want to, sit down and watch videos for an extended period of time, well, I'm working in music all day, so the last thing that I want to be watching is more fucking music content. A couple of people I subscribe to, but mostly the content that I subscribe to is like philosophy stuff and science stuff and video game stuff. It's stuff that takes my mind off the music thing. So I didn't get the full impact that I know a lot of people got, but I had a lot of people contact me going, "Have you seen just how much this Fender Jazzmaster is out there?" Now, you don't like the guitar, do you? I actually quite like the look of it. I'm fine with it. You know, if I had...
Same as I didn't like the Acoustic Telecaster, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. I think it's better than the... Like, it's not something I'd go out of my way to buy, but yeah, I guess I'm basing it based on that Telecaster, the Acoustic Telecaster they did. I think it's a better looking guitar than the Acoustic Telecaster.
I think you could compare any amount of jobbies and they're still jobbies. Personally.
So Liam's coming back with, also within community guidelines, Ola have had to state that he was paid / sponsored to feature the product. There, mate, right there is the point that we are trying to make. Because I know I've seen fucking contracts for these types of things. I know channels that have been sponsored for things, and they haven't disclosed that they were sponsored for them. And this is something that we are going to bang on about over and over again. And there's a lot of other YouTubers that are trying to draw attention to the exact same thing. To say, oh, you get a product and then you can then monetize the video and put ads on it. That's going to be the case anyway. If the Guitar Souls was sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, we could still then monetize the video and have ads on it. We're just going to be getting a £4,000 paycheck to have Raid Shadow Legends featured in the video, you know?
Get your boy Raid in here right now. I can fucking do with that money.
Yeah. So I can't fathom anyone thinking for a second that there's not money changing.
Wait a minute,
hands.
Lance Benedict. Who's at it?
Where?
Lance Benedict, TTM, everyone thumbs down to the extortionists. Away you go. This is class. Is this the real Lance?
I don't think it is for a second.
No, can he be? Mate, the FBI are after you. Go and hide. What you doing?
I kind of want to make him a moderator.
Don't do that, man. Don't.
I'm going to pin the comment, though.
This is great, man. We get an actual drama starting already. I really hope this. Find that channel. Come on, it's got to be real. It's got to be real.
There's no way I can actually find the channel via that, so that's...
It's your boy, Lance TTM Benedict, in for another hot take. No, Yavor, don't kick.
No, definitely don't kick. It's too funny.
You know what? No,
yeah, no, it's definitely not. I sent Chap as a guitar, and he's now a TTM artist.
Be good if it was, though. You know what? Like, tremendous. I loved it. You had real estate in Levi's head there.
Yeah.
Free. Talking like fucking prime real estate. You had a penthouse suite in fucking 5th Avenue. You can't spell extortionist, you're right.
Liam, I need you to prove to me. I need evidence. And of course, it's impossible to provide evidence that something hasn't happened. You can't prove a negative, right? So actually, I'm making the positive claim here. I'm saying something has happened. So really, the burden of proof is actually on me. But I'm drunk enough to acknowledge that I'm wrong there. But still say, Liam, mate, you need better than that, than just, well, that's what I was told.
To be fair, Liam does have a lot of friends in a lot of places within the industry. He knows a lot of artists. So credit where credit's due. But
I need better than that's what I was told. Because then I can just turn around and say, okay, well, I know that the guitar was featured on this channel, and this channel, who are all friends of mine, and I can tell you how much they were paid.
But that doesn't mean necessarily that Ola was.
No,
I'm not saying it.
Sure.
Definitely is, but I think we're definitely in the grey area of neither party can prove or disprove. So,
but that's exactly the why this is such an insidious subject, because there are channels out there that I know have been paid for content to be put up, and legally speaking, they have to disclose that, but they don't do it because it's not a good look. They want the marketing to be more subtle. They want the product placement to be more subtle, so they don't do anything about it. They just sort of go, they let it slide and just, oh, my mistake, didn't,
of course, because they're not accountable. They don't care.
Yeah.
Well, they don't care, but certainly if the hammer falls, it's not on their head. Julian, that's a really good point. Worst part about all the Acoustasonic videos is that Fender flexed they can take over the entire guitar YouTube community if they wanted to by throwing money at content creators.
Yeah.
Potentially, man, like that. Something we need to be considerate of. Something we need to be cautious of.
Yeah. We talked on the show quite recently about the idea, my experience of dealing with Fender in terms of their advertising and their logic, me being told, well, with Fender, we don't need to advertise. And me saying, well, you always need to advertise. You should always be keeping your name up. And what Julian has pointed out there is absolutely true. Like, Fender don't need to advertise in the traditional way, but they've got all this money that they can put into just taking over in the way that they have, which is fine. But then it's not even a concern, I guess. My hope is that there's enough kickback from the community over stuff like this.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm reading the chat at the same time. You're talking serious. Yeah. And Lance is talking about sending Ola some guitars as soon as we get around to building them. Sorry, you keep putting me off, but 10 out of 10, man. 10 out of 10. Wow.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion I know who that is, because of course I feel I know who that is.
It's a double bluff. It's actually Lance, and he's just pretending so that he can inside the community. He's going to get on your Discord, and before you know it, he'll be here with 6 Devastators, all of them impeccable, and make you take your word back.
So Darren Watson raises an interesting question. Is ticking the box to show that you're advertising a product enough, or is scraping the barrel? So I think legally speaking that it probably is enough.
It's an advertisement, it says at the bottom, paid product placement.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Most people I've seen that are trying to legitimately talk about stuff will give a disclaimer at the start and say, not advertised, paid for it, whatever. Like Rhett Schull did that with the Cortex, the Quad Cortex, which was really good. I enjoyed that because his very first point was, they don't even see this, like Neural won't see this before I put it up, whether I'm positive or not. Don't get me wrong, he did say positive things about it because it's a ridiculous piece of kit. But I think that personally should be the standard that I would like to see from channels, and not the vague, here's 3 words in grey writing that take up about 6 pixels of your fucking 1440p screen in the bottom left. Yeah. Personally, but that is the legal requirement. Yeah. And I think it says that in the description when you do that.
And Liam's just said there that it's a legal requirement. But for me, until we see somebody fined for not doing it, it's just a farce. It's a farce of a system.
There's not been a legal precedent set, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah,
and I agree with you.
And the other thing to take into consideration, you mentioned Rhett Schull there. This is like an inherent bias that we are going to have as content creators, whereby if somebody pays you to make a video for them, you might not have explicitly been told by them that you need to make a positive review. But if somebody gives you a lot, well, sure, there's an expectation, but even on a subconscious level, if somebody's just given you $4,000 to review one of their products, on a subconscious level, you are going to be a lot more happy with that product when you use it than you would be if you'd gone out and bought the product, and that is something that you cannot fight. You cannot change that. I'm as objective as I try to be at all times and reasonable and fair about things. I'd be in the exact same position. And it's why we have to talk about the fact that while no money exchanged hands for our relationship that we have with Ormsby, we didn't pay for these guitars.
No, that was essentially the deal, and it worked out really good for us, and it worked out really good for them. And brilliant. Full disclosure is that we got very lucky. And that was our payment.
Yeah, and we want to disclose that because you guys need to know that when we talk about how positive we feel about the guitars, not because our word can't be trusted, Not that we're lying to you, you know, but even on a subconscious level, like I'm always going to perceive the guitars that we've got for free at a higher level than if I'd gone and bought the guitars. That's
fair.
Subconscious.
I don't even think it necessarily is going to be something that happens, but you need to recognise the bias that could potentially go into what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're probably right in being so not presumptuous with it, assertive with it, to say that it's not just that there's a potential that we're going to be biased, but that just need to recognise they're going to be or there will be a bias, and to be conscious of it and go around it. But I think he's right. Like, I've been very lucky to have a great business relationship with Ormsby.
Yeah.
Just have to tell the truth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is just like the next step in blowing my brain, to be quite honest. But it's really cool. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
But I would never pretend that we bought the guitars and we're completely impartial, or that we got the guitars so that we could have our opinions bought. It's not like that. We're very lucky that the business sees us, and through extension also the endorsements and stuff, it's been like a good beneficial relationship.
Yeah.
And we've had great chats with Perry as well. Like, very lucky to just randomly get messages off him.
Yeah.
I miss all the calls. You speak to him at 2 in the morning and then you convinced me that, I don't know, the two of you have fell into some sort of black matter hole or something.
Like we're just flirting down the phone and sending each other filthy voice messages. Yeah.
You didn't say that before.
No.
You're leaving me out?
Well, I think they were intended for me. I'm going to request more beverages. Hang on.
I'm used to this studio being really cold because Levi is
Scottish at heart.
Tighter than a run's minge.
Yeah.
And usually it's quite cold in here. But he said the heating on for like an hour before we come in here.
Yeah.
And you maybe can't see it, but I'm glistening. I'm not quite the bronzed Adonis I would like to be. Probably more the see-through goat man, maybe. I don't know.
I like Lance Benedict. A TTM will destroy an Ormsby any day. I mean, that's
It's definitely got sharper points.
Yeah. In the sense that if they were in some sort of fight, the Ormsby would just assume he has won because the TTM won't be there. And then the TTM might just sneak up from behind and do some shady shit. I would love more than anything to put TTM and an Ormsby head to head, and that should have happened by now. You know, Lance Benedict did pay me money to do a review of one of his guitars and to shut me up for a while, and then never delivered the product because that of course is why I'm an extortionist.
Cocktails and tuxedos. You know what? I considered wearing a shirt and the rest of my suit tonight, if I'm totally honest, but I thought, nah, I won't put Levi on the spot.
We could have cocktails and tuxedos for episode 101.
This is going to really go into a slippery slope of,
sure.
This is episode 105 and Levi has a toilet. It's going to just become no longer the guitar souls, just the debaucherists. You can see it happening.
Yeah.
Miles away.
So I'm going to use that as a little bit of a segue. I do want to talk about the Andertons thing, but the other thing that I want to talk about, somebody may mention of it earlier. Some of you may have seen this week, I did an Instagram post where I stood on my Telecaster. Like, some people thought I was like somehow supporting my way. Absolutely not. I stood on my Telecaster, both feet on the Telecaster.
I had to tell you not to stand on a guitar as we came in here earlier on, and that's a fucking semi-hollow acoustic.
But the reason I did that is because, did you see Angel Vivaldi's picture?
I did. I love it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be standing on that guitar. For what I understand, it seems to be a lot of people, and it's a cultural thing. I think it seems to be a lot of Indian fans. Yeah. Because it's like the greatest disrespect to be hit with the bottom of a shoe or whatever.
Sure.
I believe. I might be completely wrong.
Yeah.
I am Scottish and ignorant, and that's not out of badness, just because I am not very worldly. But I believe that is the case.
Yeah. Yeah. From what I understand, that is the case. But still, there's just something inherently. They always feel something inherently wrong with telling other people that they need to live their lives to the standards that you live your lives to.
Mm-hmm.
So Angel Vivaldi, having his foot resting on a guitar in a glorious photo shoot. Glorious.
Oh man, he looks like he does look like a bronzed god. Actually, yeah. He looks great in it. Well done him.
All the time in the world for Angel Vivaldi. I think
I've never met him, but every single social interaction I see on Facebook with him, he just comes across as the better person.
Yeah.
Even when he's been a wido, it's dead funny. He's good.
Yeah.
And I've never seen him actually being a weirdo. It's always been getting back at somebody being an arse.
Chris Jordan said, "Have we stopped drinking?" Mike's nearly finished his drink, but I've got more are being made and being brought out to us.
Living the lap of luxury, man. Good
So,
times.
all the time in the world for Angel Vivaldi. I'm sure I told the story before. I've not actually done any work with Angel, but we have talked about doing some stuff together. And in his first email to me, like introducing himself, he made a joke in the email about how much he loves sucking dick. And to me, that was just the funniest and most down-to-earth, classy, you know what I mean? I enjoy that. I've got all the time and respect in the world for that, because I know, like, Angel's openly out gay. That's great, and so he absolutely should be. But I know people that are also in that community that try and keep stuff like that, you know, not behind closed doors and not private, but it's not something they want to lead with, because they have had to deal with bigotry in their life. And for all Angel knew, that might have been what he would have met with me. And of course, that's never going to be the case.
I think he's much like you. I think it's like, if you're going to be uncomfortable, I'm going to make you uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And then we can deal with it from that point, and it's up to you. Great, man. Love it.
So all the time in the world for him. And
we love to see it, as they say on Instagram.
I'm often trying to launch hashtags, you know, hashtag post my balls, and always inflammatory stuff, you know.
I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah.
Were you on fucking Snapchat with Count Dacula by any chance?
I mean, my balls have never been out with Marcus's in the... Oh, no, that's not right. That's not right at all, is it?
Oh, no. Is there stories about you and him having balls out together?
No, there's definitely a picture. There's definitely a picture of him passed out on my couch with my balls on his head.
I can imagine that.
That's definitely a picture that is somewhere.
I can imagine.
There you go. See, drink, and he shares way too much information. Congratulations, of course, to the Meekins on their
absolutely young Sadie.
Meekin. Where was I going with this stuff?
Angel,
love him. Stand on your guitars, basically, is what I'm saying, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Your guitars are.
Oh, Ross, thanks very much, mate.
It's your birthday, and you're giving us a
what you doing? Tell me you've got a drink, Ross. What you got? Beer?
All the drinks in the world. Guitars are inanimate objects, and
You're a fucking inanimate object. I saw that in the Discord earlier. I was killing myself laughing.
They're tools that we use to express ourselves, and some of that is musical, and it's like the Phoebe Bridgers with the smashing the guitar on Saturday Night Live, and we were making the argument that smashing a guitar is fine because it's a tool that you're using. You're not performing on the radio. Like, the visual side of things is important. It's a visual tool as well as it is an audio tool. And sure, we use our instruments in order to make music, but they are still tools at the end of the day. And sure, me standing on a guitar on Instagram doesn't really achieve much. It's not looking to achieve much, other than be a little bit inflammatory, because it's kind of my jam.
But what does the comments about people giving Angel shit for standing on his own guitar really achieve either?
I just think you need to, like, you have to be a fool to look at those pictures, that any of Angel's photo shoots that he does, and think anything other than those are some fucking cool photo shoots, man. That's... Yeah.
Oh, aye, man. Like, he's classy as fuck. His guitars are beautiful, and so's he.
Big swinging dick, Chris Locke. Thank you very much for your support, Chris.
You feeling all right, big man? Did you put an extra zero in there? Thanks very much. That's mental.
Well,
wow.
Someone's going to have to one-up Chris Locke with
I think
that.
so. Yavor, yes, I did quote in Bruges. It's fucking beautiful. And Ross, Vine and Stefan is. But just, sorry. Chris, you're mad. Thank you. But
Chris is a champion. I should Chris.
Really?
Chris was a supporter on my Patreon as of the last couple of months, like one of the top tier supporters on Patreon, and he sent me a message saying, you know, business has been doing good. Wanted to send you a little present to support you, and he sent me a check from the States, which I thought was lovely. And then it turned up, and I was like, how the hell do I cash a check in dollars? That's a bit of a ball ache.
you're the most ungrateful man I know.
I know. I felt really bad because I messaged him because he was like, "Well, I was going to use your PayPal donate link, but I didn't want you to incur like fees or anything like that. So I thought if I just sent you a check, that would be more beneficial."
That's so nice.
And I was like, "I really appreciate it. Thank you very much."
It's a crazy personal touch as well to go to the effort to send you a check.
When he said I wanted to send you a gift, I assumed he meant like a bottle of whiskey or something like that, which is always appreciated as well. So I thought it was really funny. It was like, well, I didn't want you to incur any costs. And then I was looking into how the hell you cash a check that's in dollars in the UK. And I'm like, okay, it takes like 4 weeks and there are considerable fees involved. So, of course, he just joined up to my Patreon. But
beautiful. What a great gesture, though. Thanks very much.
Chris Locke is a really good guy and a very entertaining guy. Constantly sharing memes with me, which are always very, very much appreciated.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
And yeah, so what Chris has done there, and the thing with this show, right, is we're always talking about trying to sell T-shirts, and the reason we're trying to sell T-shirts is so that we don't have to pay for our hosting costs. Because hosting costs us like £77 a year, which isn't a lot of money in the grand scheme of things.
It's not. It's not.
But it always comes out when you least expect it. It came out of my account 3 days ago, and I'm like, motherfucker!
God damn it!
Didn't know that was happening.
Here's Andy paid it.
Yeah.
I want my change, by the way. Andy, you're as tight as me, man. See if you dropped £1 at your pocket, take you the back of the head before it hit the ground. Love it. Thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Appreciate it, Andy.
Andy's been an avid guitar collector, and by that I mean somebody that buys a guitar and sells the last one that he bought once a week for the last 10 years, maybe. Love him.
100 pence donation. It's very much appreciated for the 100th episode.
Love it. It's fucking so nice.
Thank you very much, Ben. Also
Stop
very
this.
Much appreciated.
I mean, it's appreciated, but Jesus Christ, this is like an all new thing to me.
Yeah.
Totally strange.
Well, of course, the other thing that's worth pointing out with Guitar Souls. Let's talk. We've not actually discussed this amongst ourselves. We've floated some ideas, but the Guitar Souls, people will notice. We've mentioned this on the show before. We don't monetize the Guitar Souls episodes.
Yes.
You won't ever see ads on the Guitar Souls episodes, and the reason for that is twofold. One is that they'll immediately be either demonetized or limited monetization because we swear all over the show. But more importantly, unlike my YouTube content, the Guitar Souls isn't my podcast. The Guitar Souls is mine and Mike's podcast. 50-50 part share owners in this, right? I
mean, it's all right saying that, but you definitely do the majority.
Sure, I put in more work, but I'm set up to put in the work. If you know what I mean. I was talking to Melissa about this today. I was like, monetizing the podcast and things like that. The only reason I can come home and do this stuff is because while I work hard, I also have a lot of free time because I work really hard and then I'll take time off. So I do have free time. I can do things. And I was like,
some of the stuff you're doing at the moment as well, is right? Like on top of that.
If I had a 9-to-5 job, there would be no Guitar Souls because I just wouldn't have the energy and time. So it's good enough that you find the time to put in what you put in. And it wouldn't be a show without you, So.
Oh, you're big sick.
So the point is,
go on. Sorry, before you go any further, just like you and I done this to start with, just as a laugh, because I think it was the encouragement of why don't we just record us talking shit and see what happens?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have thought that 3 years down the line we'd have 100 episodes, 110, 109 people watching live, and people donating money. Yous are all crazy. What's wrong with yous? In a good way.
Yeah. I don't even know what I just like ISK. I don't know what that is, but
very kind. Thank you very much,
Raul.
Jeez,
so the point I was making is that the Guitar Souls isn't monetized on YouTube. The only way that we make money on YouTube is by selling T-shirts.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, we don't really sell any T-shirts.
No, and I think what's strange about that is the original conversation we had was the same as the conversation we had before. We didn't want to paywall what was going on.
Yes.
We don't ever want it to be that you can access our content for what it is at the moment. We've got to 100 episodes, but you need to pay.
Yeah.
But we also would like to give people the opportunity to support us and give you more content. So that's where we're trying to draw the line. And I'm assuming that's where Levi's going with this conversation.
You can come onto the camera, it's okay.
What a sweetheart. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't judge me for crushed ice.
There's no judgment here.
Oh, is that what they had in there? Okay. Say hello. Pop your head on the camera. Say hello.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm going to come around here. Hello.
Say hello.
The most
Hi
talented.
everyone. Hello. My name is Melissa Kelly. I have been demoted from my normal fabulous job to drinks bringer. I feel really good about it. My career's going great. Thank you.
Melissa also has a Patreon, so
the big problem you've got is you won't put him in the spot. You know he's just going to be like, oh, well, fuck it.
Yeah. I can't be put on the spot. So thank you very much, babe.
Thank you so much. And another thank you. What's wrong with you people? Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm incredibly humbled, but babe, fucking hell.
Yeah, so genuinely appreciate it, guys. But before you keep donating money...
Vegan death metal life, I love it. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Yeah, but before you guys keep donating money, while it's obviously very much appreciated, the logic has always been, as Mike said, we don't want to put a paywall up on the show. We just want to, if we're going to monetize it, we want it to be optional. So the T-shirts is an optional thing that people can do.
That's it. We can give you something back that doesn't necessarily mean a paywall on the content.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
And more importantly, if people don't have the money to support us, that's still fine, because the logic is kind of like a socialist ideology, in that there are guys like Chris Locke, who we very much appreciate supporting us with $100 donation. Like, it's unbelievably appreciated. Stuff like that will obviously keep us going, and while he knows that money is going to us and supports us and very much appreciated, that's also him really sort of helping everybody else out, in the sense that he's contributing more because he's able to contribute more.
Aye, it's like kind of paying it forward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like doing that when I can.
And absolutely love that more than anything in the world. But again, the point I was trying to make is that the Guitar Souls isn't monetized, and it's because it's my YouTube channel, and this makes things really complicated, because now I need to calculate what this show made so I can make sure that it gets put in our Guitar Souls pot. But what we are talking of doing, and we want to float this idea out there with you guys,
yes,
is I'm not comfortable launching a Guitar Souls Patreon. I've said this to Mike since day one, because there would be no possible way that I could launch another Patreon page and say to all of my patrons, hey guys, if you want to support this other thing that I'm doing, please don't go and give me more money here. So we can't do that. But Bandcamp do a subscription thing that you can do. You can name your price, I believe, and we're talking about the idea of having like a £1 up / £1-ish subscription, and for that you would get the show, of course, along with everybody else, but you would also get a monthly, potentially weekly or bi-weekly, I'm not sure how we do this, but a bonus episode. So it would give you that sense of supporting the show for like $1 and getting something in return for that. We're floating the idea. We need to look around and see the kind of practicality of doing something like that, but we would love to do that because we want to grow the show. And we can grow the show in a multitude of ways. One of those is having a little bit of money so we can advertise. And one of those is also just having, I mean, it's a lot of money that we need to do it, but, you know, doing things like going out to the NAMM show so we can record more content with people. And
yes,
you know,
we've definitely done an invite, which is nice.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, it's one, I can imagine there would be probably a few more if we put the cast out there, but it was nice to get one unsolicited, which was even better.
Yeah. We want 2021 or 2022 because of COVID.
2022, let's be honest.
To be our year. And the way we'll do that is by reaching new people, and the way that we will reach new people is, like, as much as we appreciate all the financial support, it means the world to us, guys. Your support from word of mouth is much more valuable to us, not just in terms of finance, but like so we can reach more people. And we're big advocates for like mental health awareness and being very supportive of people seeking the help that they need and shit like that. And if we could reach more people to spread that message a little bit more, that would mean more to me than any amount of money.
Absolutely. This is it's turned into, not to say it wasn't to start with, but this is an incredible oh God. This is an incredible community that we seem to have built, and the fact that people will give us a couple of hours of their time on a Monday night, and better yet, the comments I'm seeing here, like Yorkie saying that Yorkie Mike saying he's had a bad day today, so he's here having a wee drink with us, and I think Lee Stevens said the same thing, and just the fact that he's tuning in just to listen to us talk shit and chat with us, man, like it is humbling. Like it's, I don't really know how to describe it other than humbling. It's the best way to put it, and
Absolutely.
It's cool. I'm really enjoying it. And as Levi said, we're kind of rambling on it, but both of us didn't really have much more of a conversation about how we can go about giving you more without putting a paywall in place for if people can give us financial support. And there's no expectation that if you can't, then you don't get content or anything.
Yeah.
Totally against what we're about in every sense of the word.
Chris is at it again.
Jesus Christ, man. Behave. Like, all of you behave. And anybody that's left comments saying, like, I wish I could, please don't feel that way. The fact that you're in the chat, you're watching us and talking with us and having a good time is more than enough. More than enough for me.
Guys, I'm just going to mute the microphone for a second. I'm going to run something by Mike and see what his thoughts are on this. Okay, cool. So what we've decided that we're going to do, Chris, I know you're still listening. Chris, we really appreciate your support. While I think, of course, if you want this, Chris, you can give this to yourself. Mm-hmm. We're giving Chris Locke the power with this pedal, this incredible Duality DX. In fact, I want to do a little plug for this pedal because what my expectations of what this pedal does versus what it actually does was off base. I misunderstood what this pedal really does. It's got 3 channels on it. Blue channel, a green channel, and a red channel. And when I see a red channel on a pedal, I expect fucking uber gain. And of course, I play through a clean amp most of the time, right? So I put my clean channel on, I put this pedal on it, I put the blue channel on, I'm like, okay, virtually no gain on there. Cool.
Clean boost, more or
Yes.
less.
Green channel, tiny bit of overdrive, even with the gain maxed. Then I put the red channel on and maxed the gain out, and it was like a moderate amount of overdrive. And I was like, I sent Daniel a message like, is this working how it's supposed to? Is that the gain that you have on tap? And he was like, how are you running it? And I was like, into the clean channel. He was like, don't run it into a clean channel. He was like, put it on an overdrive channel.
It is something else, man. For whatever reason, it doesn't hit.
Yeah.
Super hot and compress everything, but it absolutely brings amps to life.
So I put the green channel on my Rev.
If memory serves correctly, the green channel is somewhere round about like a traditional tube screamer boost. The blue's a bit more modern, and then the red's pretty much
but worth pointing out, like I put it on the green channel on my Rev, which, and honestly, the gain on that sounds like maybe a Vox. You know, a moderately loud Vox, not an overdriven Vox, but a moderately loud Vox. It's starting to break up. And as soon as I put this pedal on the green channel on my Rev and put on each one of those channels, fuck me, the gain that this thing had available was it was all there, and it just reacts so well to overdrive from the amp. And just immediately, there was like I say, putting it on the clean channel, initially I was like, no, I don't really know if this is for me. And then as soon as I did that, I was like, this is for me. This is an unbelievably good overdrive pedal.
I agree.
And it has a gate in it, a dual gate, 4 inputs on the pedal. We are giving this away. Thank you to Daniel over at Dead World Audio, the Duality DX. Please do go and check his pedals out. They're incredible pedals. What we've decided to do is that because Chris Locke has been so unbelievably generous, Chris, we want you to look through the comments and you decide who gets this.
Including you can give it to yourself if you really want to.
If you want to give it to yourself, we will take no issue with that whatsoever. We are giving you the power to give this pedal to whoever you want to give it to. And you don't need to make that decision now. It could be by the end of the episode. If somebody says something, a comment that makes you laugh, whatever it happens to be, if someone submits a good question, you can pick them. We will be sending this pedal to whoever you decide has it.
I love that. I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted by the chat. I say distracted, it's a good thing. I'm really enjoying interacting with people talking. It's good fun.
Yeah.
And the amount of people just being positive is dead nice. I'm loving it. If you really want to hear some party cannon riffs, I will do it, but you don't, is what I'm saying. Fun enough, Ross, I have got one of these. I used it in the studio when I was recording with Party Cannon just the last couple of weekends. I had it in front of my Tri-Rec, but get ahead, and originally I was lucky enough I bought an amp from Daniel, and I also got one of his prototype dualities before he put the gate in it and did the 4-cable method, and that is probably the most vicious articulate amp I've ever heard. Fuck off, Lance. Right, like I'm not bullshitting.
Give it to Lance. You know, the beauty, of course, is I have Lance Benedict's address because of all the legal documents that have been sent to him. So I could send this to Lance Benedict. That would be the ultimate meme, like, from your friends at the Guitar Souls podcast, from the extortionists.
There's a really interesting question.
What?
Bell End, good name, by the way. What's your thoughts on Anderton's Guitar and PMT working together as a joint company? Buying full shipments, etc., and price fixing, in my opinion. Guitar now even sell Chapman guitars. Now, I think the problem is, personal experience, there used to be a UK buying conglomerate. There was a lot of the smaller stores, and they were called Euromusic. And they bought a lot of stock, unbranded, and had the stuff branded as Euromusic, or as the stores if they bought enough stuff. And it made things much better for everybody, because the margins were there for everybody involved. But a buyer's conglomerate, or a buyer's consortium, when you've got 3 of the biggest brands in a country, is only going to benefit them, really.
Yeah.
And
it pushes the small shops out.
100%.
Yeah.
And general pricing structures for distributors do that much easier than 3 of the biggest companies buying all the stock and then setting their own margins on top of what the distributor probably gives stuff out at. And maybe even worse, are more strict purchase criteria or stocking requirements. It's a strange world. I would really, really like to see another small grassroots buyers consortium. But quite honestly, I think the time for that's past. With Brexit and all that. I think it's fucked now. Like, fucked.
Yeah, for me, I have to look at things like this and I'm like, cut out the middleman. You don't need a store like this. every manufacturer but I don't see a reason that manufacturers shouldn't be operating with the direct to consumer model in the internet age. I'm always for the idea of I don't want to say pushing the music industry forward, because forward would suggest that I know what's best for the industry. I don't know what's best for the industry, but moving with changes in the industry, taking advantage of changes and just trying to preempt where things are going. And I'm okay with the idea that, manufacturers being able to sell direct to consumers, not because I look at the situation with retailers and I want retailers to go out of business. That's absolutely not the case. But when I look at scenarios like this, where retailers they're middlemen, and the more middlemen you add to any business line, the more you are adding cost onto the consumer.
Absolutely.
So there are always going to be people that would still prefer to go. Always going to be people that would prefer to go via a retailer, and I wouldn't tell people like that they're wrong. I know I've known some great retailers over the year that will offer great customer service, great warranty options, great customer service.
Now do Ormsby guitars for the UK. Certainly they're the first that I've seen in a while, and I've not had any personal affiliation with them, but I know you've had plenty of good dealings with Peach Guitars. So. Yeah, just as a total besides. Sorry.
Yeah. So, direct to consumer thing works for me. On the note though of Andertons, let's laugh at this, right? So I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this actually. So it was mentioned to us on the podcast last week.
Sorry to distract you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Speaks volumes to the character.
So Chris, while I very much appreciate your message. I can't. That's what I want to do, but I can't decide who that person is, because then it would be easy for people to make accusations that there's some sort of nepotism going on. What's nepotism for not family? Nepotism's family, right? I don't want to think that I've chosen who this is going to go to. So
okay, right. Fair enough. I thought you were being particular there. You're just trying to be semantic.
I don't want it to be any sort of favoritism going on with who we send this out to. So
I'll do you one better, Chris. I've still got my prototype that Daniel gave me, and I'll be happy to send it along to you when you pick somebody for this. Give me your address. I'll send you the 2-channel
Chris
version.
just won't take anything though.
Well, come on, it needs to go both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really. Again, if you want to gift that on, you're welcome to do that as well, mate.
So let me in fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull this up on the side here. So Andertons Music posted out to their YouTube fans, calling all Andertons TV fans, we're launching a beta version of our new video subscription service and would like to give you, our YouTube audience, a chance to be one of the first to sign up for its early release. Offering a fully curated back catalogue of an ad-free Andertons videos, browse by show, instrument, or your favourite presenter to discover content that you may have never seen before. Have you noticed that when I drink, I can read?
I was actually reading myself, which is worse.
Yeah. Benefit from a wide range of subscriber-only deals, free or discontinued, discounted shipping from andertons.co.uk, and exclusive never-before-seen content, such as our new series, Play Like and Signature Sounds. Please note, our beta launches now. This was the edit that they put in place.
Yes.
This was not well received.
Quite rightly. Let us advertise to you solely at your own cost. We don't want anyone else giving you adverts.
Oh, fuck me.
I know.
Chris Jordan.
I mean, I'm sure he meant Bill Cosby, but my problem is he was too subtle. He got away with it for too long.
Oh, and sorry, we also got a donation from Paul Gale, and I just want to say thank you for that, Paul. It's very much appreciated.
Definitely. I'm very conscious we don't avoid what people are saying.
Yeah.
Super chats, whatever you call it or not.
Yeah.
I'm not joking when I say my mind's blown. There's 113 people sitting here talking or chatting away to us and listening and engaging with us. What's wrong with you? I mean, I love it, but what the fuck? Anyway, I'm going to stop being a fanny.
Yeah. So obviously, this news from
Andertons, yes, a very interesting.
Wasn't well received from the viewers, understandably so. Now, all right, I'm gonna miss the point a little bit in the same way that I think a lot of people did. Andertons are really talking about trying to create content that moves beyond, Andertons advertising content. But at the end of the day, they are still a shop, and their ultimate goal is to sell you stuff. So they're essentially saying, do you want to pay us so we can serve you adverts of things that we'd like to sell you?
See,
what are they thinking?
I think the problem here, right, and that's my genuine thought on it, is that I wouldn't give Arnold Clark a hard time for not wanting adverts on videos of them walking you around a car, sorry, right?
Arnold Clark is are they Scottish? Just Scottish? The car,
yeah, sorry,
second-hand
I
car
should
shop.
have. I think they might. They're the biggest in Scotland, but they're
Sure.
certainly not.
But
Excuse me, Craig. I have got a drink. You behave yourself.
Oh, big shout out to KDH who's in the chat.
Yes, Keelan. Thanks for joining.
I love seeing Caelan Hughes rocket to fame in a way that I never did. Hashtag not bitter. Caelan deserves it. He makes incredible content.
He does, man. I love his journalistic integrity. I think he's really setting the mark for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The bus seats in the house, boys, still there. Don't worry, I'll get it for the next episode. Promise, right? But where was I going with that?
You were talking about Arnold Clark and
Sorry.
seeing around. They wouldn't show you around a car.
So I think the problem is the platform they're trying to introduce us to. So, talk about Arnold Clark as a total example. They're a car dealership, quite a big one, as Ross is saying, they're UK wide, right? They will no doubt have videos on their website showing you round the car, right? Fine, totally telling you about the car so that when you, if you're going to buy it, you have a totally informed advert. You're going to have the same thing from Anderton's website, totally fine. But to try and enforce that on YouTube, which is a completely separate platform, I think is my problem. I don't think they've really got any right to say to people, pay us extra money so that we can advertise to you directly and you don't have to get other people's adverts. It feels a bit weird to me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Is that a context that isn't just a weird
No,
one for
totally.
me?
But the weird thing is, Andertons have taken off and been so successful because they appeal to a market of people that aren't just internet savvy users. Now, of course,
Of course they're not. They had chappers on the channel for fucking thousands of years.
it's still internet savvy people because it's still
No,
people that use YouTube, but they're not necessarily the types of people that, you know, gent shit posting, like
Totally.
our age group type of thing.
Whether I'm aware or not about chappers, there's no denying that he had an influence on,
Yeah.
Along with the captain,
Yeah.
on how YouTube content is made, especially when it comes to advertising
Yeah.
and musical equipment. So credit where credit's due to them in that.
Yeah.
Can't say much else.
I do think that as much as people are going to make fun of what they're doing, I still think that it will probably end up being quite successful. Because why not? Like, why wouldn't it be successful? At the end of the day, sure, it's a shop that is trying to get you to pay a subscription in order for them to curate content for you or make content for you without ads. But how is that any different than you know, subscribing the paid YouTube subscription, subscribing to Ola England's channel? Same idea, right? The only reason we think more
No.
negatively about it is just because they're a shop.
If Ola's channel was exclusively to make money on selling new products, I would agree. But he's not going to make money on everything as in commission-wise, whereas Anderton, is specifically for that shop to build commission and build intrigue and interest in sales
Yeah.
and a good customer rapport and a great reputation in the market. So, I don't know.
It's fucking at it.
I feel as if I'm on one of those YouTube like compilation videos where it's people just going to random streamers' channels and drop them money.
Yeah. If somebody could tweet this show out to Elon Musk, that would be fantastic. Or Jeff Bezos.
I love that Name Redacted did 69, nice, and Jamie Tharrow had 144, which is a great number for hertz.
Okay, so Chris has guessed a number between 1 and 200, and he's gonna
Chris, I love it, mate. I love to see it.
champion.
Love to see it. The only thing I would ask is we've got 110 people watching at the moment. For some reason, we've got 6 thumbs down. I think that's probably Lance and the 5 people that still believe in him. Can we get a wee thumbs up for anybody else that hasn't done it, please?
Yeah.
Please.
So I do wish success for Andertons in this, as ridiculous as I think it is. I do hope that it the people that subscribe to it are happy with the service that's being provided. Is the way I would look at it. I don't see it massively different than what Ola's doing. Sure, there is a difference, but still, Ola wants to sell you his guitars, and also Ola wants engagement on his channel so he can sell adverts to you from other companies. So it's still like a money making scheme.
I just mean it's not like it's not as if he's got affiliate links, for example.
Yes.
Maybe he does, I don't know. Certainly haven't seen any.
Yeah.
So that would maybe change my opinion on it.
So before all these numbers came flying in,
That's a bit wild, isn't it?
Yeah, there was another comment that I wanted to address. It was Johnny Mittens. He said that Levi Clay audio audit incoming. There was a time, I'm sure I spoke about this with Caelan.
Caelan, please just reduce this man to rubble.
Yeah,
Tear him down.
I'm sure me and Caelan bounced back and forth about the idea of making an audio audit on me and me doing a Rage Time video on him, like an April Fool's type thing.
That'd be class.
Yeah, but then it's one of those weird things. Like, I think when that was proposed, it was sensible in terms of like the reach that we both had. But his channel is so big now, it would be me kind of piggybacking off his audience and success.
I think in the same vein, and I'm not speaking on behalf of him, but I think Keelan probably respected the backup you gave him with the Chapper stuff.
Yeah.
And again, it's not clout chasing, it's not riding coattails.
Yeah.
We've got a really good community of people who have integrity, who have ethics, who want to see each other looked after. And I love it. I really love it.
Yeah.
I sound like a pure sweetheart because I've been drinking hundreds of whiskey, but
and of course,
facts.
when I stood up for KDH, name redacted. Chris has given it to name redacted. 27. There you go, name redacted. You won something.
And credit where credit's due. You're part of Dynamite every week, so
yeah. This is a difficult one though, of course, because now I need name redacted to contact me. Tons of people are going to contact me, pretending to be name redacted. You know,
can you send messages through YouTube?
You can't send messages through YouTube.
Damn, that's an F.
Yeah.
Big F in the chat for the boys.
Yeah, name redacted. What I'm going to need you to do is, can you post like an edited version of what your email address is into the YouTube thing, so I know whose email I'm looking out for? You know what I mean?
I missed that, but
yeah,
I'm sure you'll work it out.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll work it out. That'll be fun.
Well done, mate. Congrats, and big thanks to you all for just being nutters. Like, yous are mad.
So, name redacted is winning this absolutely stunning Duality DX. KDH Levi is one of the few people who helped me when very few people would. My channel is your channel is smaller than mine. I'm not going to pretend that for a second, but also you get better engagement than we do. So,
and your content's dynamite, mate.
Yeah, my channel's big because of legacy. It's been here for a very long time. Yeah.
You pissed off enough people for people to see it.
Yeah,
which is good. No, big love to you all.
Yeah, I stood up for Kalen. There was no benefit in it for me standing up for him.
I think you like the.
It felt like the right thing to do.
Excuse, the opportunity to go in on Rob.
Oh yeah,
because
but on anyone, if I've got the opportunity, like if somebody's out there pretending like they're a saint, acting like they're a fucking saint, and I have the burning hot evidence that they are not in fact a saint, and I've got a decent because of course I could have dropped that information on Rob at any time, but there was no real reason to. Whereas when I was watching him use his audience to bully a fucking young YouTuber, like, you damn right I'm coming out of the. It's not like I was protecting a big channel. Kalen's channel was insignificant at the time, and he deleted the videos. Like, did it because it was the right fucking thing to do.
Of course.
My signal boosting of that was insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It wasn't until Mike the Music Snob, and
is this a YouTube channel or an name for me?
Yeah, that could be another name for you. It's Become the Night, his YouTube channel, and Dovidas. Until they made videos. When the NAMM show happened,
because they came out and they said, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, they have a big enough audience that that it was going to be influential. So, Levi Clay, seeing as you're drunk, why don't you fill us in on your initial beef with Chappers? You know, there wasn't an initial beef with Chappers. I worked for Chappers. I did some transcriptions for Chappers. You know, just a person, and then he did his ALS Ice Bucket video. You know, or didn't, I should say, when he said, "I think ALS has raised enough money. I'm going to do something better than that because I have a bigger reach. I have more influence," which I thought was distasteful in itself.
What did they do?
Well, he launched the Rob Chapman Shred chain, which wasn't a way that he could donate money, but was a way where he could invite his famous friends to record a guitar solo, and they would make a chain out of it, and then his fans would buy it, and then he would take that money and donate it to a charity that he thought was sensible. It was one that he supported. So I'm hearing like, okay, so you don't support ALS. You also don't want to donate anything on yourself. You want to use your considerable audience in order to get them to donate on your behalf, and also you want to make sure that your fucking name, it's not. You know, you didn't name the charity. It wasn't named on the charity. It wasn't the RSPCA shred chain. It was the Rob. It was, as with him, it's always about clout. It's always about appearing the good guy, and that just wasn't a good guy thing to do. It was a really fucking shitty thing to do. And I told people that it was a shitty thing to do, and he didn't like that.
I think the subcontext is, if there's a crowd of people that you're probably going to upset, it will certainly be the people who think, right, so you're a famous guitarist that doesn't support ALS, when we all absolutely know that Jason Becker was struck by
Hmm.
ALS and is still dealing
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it. And there's been crowdfunder things for Jason round about him as well, with a lot of famous guitarists jumping on to give him the respect and the support he deserves.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely took issues with the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. For me, it was a popularity thing that people wanted to do. The idea of the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge was pour a bucket of ice over your head and tell somebody else to do it, or donate money. You know, so in theory, the idea was you pour the ice bucket over your head so you don't donate money, and then you pass that responsibility on to someone else. I believe it's Patrick Stewart. When he was nominated for it, he just sat down,
I thought it was just more to
drank a glass of whiskey, and then just donated the money.
was it not just to generate interest? Like if you do the challenge, then you can still donate. But
Sure.
the idea is that people will go, there's somebody putting ice water over
Sure.
their head.
Yeah, and all at the
Wim
time,
Hof does that for free every day.
I wasn't really in a position to be doing so,
Same.
but I had openly said, like, when I get nominated for this, I'll just donate $200 to it and then be done with it, type thing, because I believe it's a good cause. In the end, I was a little bit conflicted because the more research I did into the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and where the money was going, I was essentially going to be funding animal testing. Like that's where most of the money went to. Which is another issue for me. That's a tricky one. Like I didn't want to. The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge raised a lot of money for ALS, but it also caused a lot of harrowing testing to be done on animals, which
I didn't know anything about that.
exactly.
That's,
So I found that one definitely
negative consequences from a positive action.
Name redacted. I can't see you in the comments.
Yes,
I mean,
we can.
I can, but
the last I saw him saying was, I talk a lot of piss on here.
yeah.
But
Have you given me?
we love you.
Have you given me any way that I know that you contact me? How am I going to know you contact me?
There is no way for us to know.
Do you think he won because he put 1 to 200? Technically putting in all the numbers at the same time.
He put in pi 3.14, which is a great answer.
No, that was great.
Sorry, no, name redacted done just a wee bit higher, but Craig did do it to
Okay,
more
yeah.
decimal points.
Yeah.
So technically he's closer to the actual figure.
We don't know that pi was the answer.
It wasn't, it was 27.
Okay.
You said it.
Well, no, I said it was 27
fucking
just because I
Stephen.
saw name redacted said 27.
Steaming.
So, yeah. Yeah, what can I say? So,
You're right about Perpetual Burn. I think Jason
Great
Becker is one of those people that very effortlessly blended ridiculous musicality and shred with musicianship. Really easy. Like really, really easy.
Andy said, shower thought, I hope condoms are tested on animals. That's, I don't, aren't. Okay, you clarified. Aren't tested.
I was going to say that. I mean, I
I
know
like
Andy,
Andy.
and you're dark.
Yeah.
You know that dark.
Yeah,
man.
I like
Like,
Andy.
that's-
That was changing my opinion. JD has a comment here. My question: did you ever meet Michael Caswell or Danny Gill from Lick Library? Absolutely. Yeah, I knew both of those. Well, I still know Danny Gill very well, and I knew Michael Caswell pretty well. Yeah, because while of course I put out DVDs for Lick Library, I have 14 DVDs with Lick Library. I wasn't like Danny Gill or Michael Caswell in the sense that I would come into the studio when I was filming. I worked in the Lick Library office every single day. Doing office related stuff, management stuff, and transcription stuff. So, I would commission Caswell to come in and do DVDs type thing. And I'd always have a good conversation with Mike when he was in. It was flattering. Like he'd often be downstairs filming and then he'd come up during one of his breaks and was like, Levi, I've got a theory question to run by you. Like, what would you call this chord? And then you play a chord and I'm like, Mike, you don't need my expertise on stuff like this. You know what you're doing. I've spent a lot of time with both Danny and Michael Caswell. Anybody that's recorded with Lick Library for like a 5-year period while I was there, I've spent a lot of time with all of those people. And Mike was like a character. Mike was a really fucking interesting character. And rubbing shoulders with Sharon, yeah, Sharon. I assume, Craig, that comment is about Sharon Plunkett from Lick Library, yeah.
Let's just take a wee step back. Craig, how do you know everybody? How do you know
Well,
every
so
fucking person?
Sharon would be the lead in terms of, like, she's office management. So if you send any support emails to Lick Library, you're going to get an email back from Sharon or Julie.
But I just mean that every single time anything gets commented, Craig's like, I know somebody.
Yeah.
Or this or that. Like, you just know everybody, man.
Yeah.
You just know everybody.
Was devastated when Mike died. That was came really out of the blue. He was a great guitar player. He really was a great guitar player. There's no denying that. Like an incredibly talented guitar player. And as I say, a character is the only way I can describe Mike Caswell. He was definitely a character.
As opposed to Charles Caswell.
It's different type of character.
An ASCII character. Programmed straight in.
Mike Caswell was one of those guys that, like, you knew that if he had the money to, he would probably have paid someone to follow him around with a fan at all times, so it could be blowing on his luscious hair.
Love it.
You know, like he just. I don't. When you say someone buys into their own hype, I think people think of that as being quite a derogatory thing. So I don't want to say that Michael Caswell bought into his own hype, but he steered into his own hype, if you know what I mean. Great,
yeah. Played the reputation that's been set to him. Good on him, man. I love that. And I think you do the same, to be fair.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I've seen your signature, but we were joking about it earlier on.
Contains both a star and a crown.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
As part of his signature, his legal signature on his documents and his ID.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of guarantees there's not going to be many people causing fraudulent problems for you unless they know you.
Yeah.
I think it also means, do you not get any hassle when you go to the bank and have to sign for things?
I mean, do people have to go in the bank and sign for things anymore? Is that a thing?
Have you never had to sign for anything in the last 5 years, really? Car finance?
I mean, my mortgage, yeah, it just got taken over. Yeah.
Even when we went into the office to get your car.
Yeah.
You were signing stuff there, and I'm surprised the guy wasn't like, aye, fucking right, got the road.
Mike, that's how I feel. That's how I feel every time I sign it.
Aye. And you deserve that. You should live that every day.
Yeah, most ridiculous. The funny thing is, of course, like, if I'd known where I'd be in my life at some point, then yeah, that's a decision I would have made. But when I did that, I keep saying I was 13 when I do stuff like that, but I absolutely wasn't 13. I absolutely wasn't 13 at all. I was in fucking primary school.
It's quite young.
I was super young, and it was just because I saw my dad sign his name.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, when people sign their name, it just looked like they wrote their name really fast on a slant.
Pretty much, aye.
Yeah. So
signature's just like a lazy statement.
So that's what I did. And I was like, how can I make this cooler? Well, I'll put a wee star on it. I'll put a wee crown on the Y. Awful.
Fancy. We've got a serious question come in there.
Go on, which one?
ADG commented,
Sure.
I have a question about DistroKid. Last year I heard some rumours about DistroKid withholding some copyright money of users or something.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true. I know the story you're talking about, and I
I just a Brazilian dude, wasn't it?
Covers.
I watched the video of him talking about how much hassle he had getting it back.
Sure.
But I don't think it was quite as straightforward as DistroKid keeping the money.
Yeah,
is that right?
It wasn't that at all. It was the guy that when he did Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, did a cover of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, and it was a big hit for him. And I know the owner of DistroKid because I've done a sponsored video for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the owner reached out to me and asked if I'd do a sponsored video for them. So when I relaunched my album on DistroKid to see how the service worked. So when I was going to report on it, I'm in the privileged position that I can send the owner of the company an email and be like, what's the deal? And he got back to me and explained what had gone on. And it changed my opinion so significantly because the issue was sorted, and the issue was sorted so unbelievably fast. It was a tax related issue because he lived in South America. He was earning over a certain amount of money, and it wasn't that the money was being withheld from him, but for tax reasons, it needed to be. What are you after?
Just try to type in. Sorry, on you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Memory serves me right. For tax reasons, it wasn't that it was being withheld, but the payments needed to be checked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Chris Locke's just fucking winding me up that he's got a Brent Mason telly. I couldn't get one. I mean, if Chris keeps donating the way he does, I'll be able to afford to buy one again, though. Thank you very much, Chris.
Angus, you asked us a question earlier on. Please repeat it. I meant to get back to you. I'm really sorry.
Sure. So finishing that point, what were we talking about? Too much to drink.
You've thrown me right off as well.
The subject was. Oh yeah. So this is why it annoyed me so much, because his video was hugely successful, but when he did his video ranting and raging about DistroKid and how they were screwing him over, that video was hugely successful as well, and he made a lot of revenue off of that one.
He did disclaim that in the video, to be fair.
Yeah, sure. When the issue was fixed, and it was fixed very fast, and it was explained to him very fast, he didn't issue an equally popular video, removing a lot of the accusations that he had made towards DistroKid, which is like it's kind of like my Lucas Mann video, where I haven't changed my opinion on that one. But even if I change my opinion on that one, posting a little video that gets viewed by 2,000 people where I say I was wrong doesn't undo the fact that there's a video up there with 220,000 views where I'm accusing somebody of something. So I took a little bit of issue with that. But of course, then I'm showing my bias in that I'd worked with DistroKid on something, so I wanted to look into it and see what the hell was going on.
I don't think that gives you bias, but I think your personal experience with the company will have influenced how you take that information on to start with.
Yeah.
The fact that you looked into it shows that you didn't want to be biased, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is that I don't know if that's fair.
No,
or
it's
not.
fair. It wasn't like an accusatory email that I sent to the owner, but it was very much a like, what the hell's going on here type thing. Because, it would be the same thing that would happen if something happened with Perry. I'm going to send him an email saying, look, mate, I have to talk about this.
That's journalistic
What the hell's
integrity,
going on?
the right to reply.
Yeah, and the same thing has happened. There's been a couple of issues in the past, like one that springs to mind. There was an issue with a competition that Ibanez were running. And I wasn't, well, I didn't see it, but some people messaged me and they were unhappy about the way it was being judged. They thought it was unfair and they thought there was some bias going on in it. And I have contacts at Ibanez. And it was enough that I felt, well, I need to fucking talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
But because I've got contacts at Ibanez, I could just reach out to them and not just go like, what's going on, but also influence them to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, look, guys, I'm going to have to talk about this because this doesn't look good for you guys. And then their response was kind of like, we had no idea that
So let's
people had
straighten
seen it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fix it. Let's make it better. Like, what do you think we should do in order to make it better?
And that's the beautiful thing about fostering the community that we are very luckily being witnessed to be part of without even meaning to actually build it to what it is.
Yeah.
Stupid as that sounds, the fact that there are 108 people sitting here chatting away fills my heart with glee.
Sure.
Because it means that humanity isn't dead and the lockdown hasn't got the better of people. And I love to see it.
Joe Pitcher
I love
said,
to see it.
as a fellow Suffolk lad, did you ever play any shows? The Steamboat Tavern. Holy shit. I absolutely played gigs in the Steamboat Tavern. Yeah.
Steamboats mean something different in Scotland.
I'm a
Steamboats
steamboat
means
right now.
Aye, means you're steaming. If you're steamboats, you are fucking drunk.
Yeah, that you haven't. So Joe, you haven't just said as a fellow Suffolk lad. The steamboat. Assuming we're talking about the same steamboat, that's not just a Suffolk thing. That's an Ipswich thing, more specifically. I used to live when I moved out of Hadley and moved to Ipswich. I lived
behind the bar,
a 5-minute walk away from the Steamboat Tavern. The Steamboat Tavern was my local. So yes, absolutely, I played gigs in the Steamboat Tavern. I should probably fall a little bit back into my Suffolk accent. We talk a little bit like this down in Suffolk.
I've never really heard you do that accent.
Everybody kind of really talks like this down there, but I don't really talk like that.
Have any of you watched This Country? Because that's what just puts me in mind of, and it's dead funny. Because I've never heard you do that accent. You always just talk the way you talk.
Yeah.
You don't have like a video voice or anything. You just are eloquent. Whereas I try my best to talk quite clearly on here.
Sure.
And then we get off and like, oh, you understand me, update. And it's like
well, there was never really a time
a
in my
barrage
life.
of vowels.
There was never really a time in my life where I really talked like this, but lots of people down in Suffolk would talk like this.
With the Scrumpy cider.
It's exactly, Scrumpy Jack and that type of twang on the accent. It's kind of Yorkshire to me.
It's very Yorkshire. I get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The same kind of twangs.
Yeah, I never really had that accent because I'm Ipswich, but I went to college in Essex, in Colchester, and then I moved to London very early on. So I've got a lot in my accent, and
you're starting to get
thankfully
Scottish.
There's no Suffolk in there.
I've heard a lot of you saying "I" quite a lot recently.
I do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Reading a few more comments here.
It's been good. I've been kind of catching through the comments up and down.
Downloaded a lick library once. Wasn't a guitar DVD, but a solid 10 out of 10. Good old Andy Torrance.
Andre Kovaci, thanks very much for the kind words. I hope I pronounced your name right regarding the podcast and the Party Cannon album. Anyone that thinks the Party Cannon album is helpful, is a good thing, is a good guy in my books, because you must be resilient as fuck. Somebody else asked a question about your dad regarding
okay. What was
Extreme Noise Terror. Yes, he was.
What was the comment?
Was your dad in Extreme Noise Terror?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yes, my dad was the original bass player in Extreme Noise Terror.
There you go. He's got death metal creds.
Yeah.
If anything, Levi's getting launched and I'm bringing his dad in for the podcast. Maybe not. Maybe not.
No, I'm not up for that. I don't. We're not on talking terms.
No. Yes, you have an interesting dynamic.
Okay, so here's a question. Say something did happen with Perry. I know you guys have integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Would you know how you'd approach that without bias? I think that's a really, really good question, Craig. And I know exactly how I would approach something like that with bias, and it would be without bias, and it would be the exact same way that I approached things when I felt Ibanez who are a company that I don't actually have I'm moving towards having a good a working relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, no, they give me exclusives on things, so I have a good relationship with them. But
I think what they like about you is that you're honest.
yeah, I've got enough of a stinking attitude that if I think that they've done something, if I think someone's done something shitty, I will tell that person that I think they've done something shitty, and I will also tell that person that I am going to be making a video talking about the fact that you have done something shitty.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, do you want to rectify that before I take you to task? Because I love you and I respect you, and I don't want you. I don't want to have to do this, but not doing this people are just going to point out the fact that I would ignore it when my friends do something shitty type thing.
In much the same token, maybe it's not something you and I spoke about, and it's certainly not something we cleared as a conversational piece. But there's been clearly concerns about people who've bought guitars from Ormsby regarding the Richie Allen run. And most recently the Rusty Cooley run, because there's been delays on them. I know the Richie Allens have been a long time coming. The reason I don't think you and I have questioned it, certainly I haven't, is because I know that every time there's an update, Perry puts it on Facebook. Yeah, it's on the group, and people know. Certainly, if they check the group more regularly, I don't know what it's like, emails out or whatever, but I know they are a very busy wee shop. Yeah, say wee shop, but obviously very busy across the world. But point being, I've never seen Perry not directly speak to people who've made comments or questions or have concerns or not even allegations, but along that line. And I have total faith that there's a lot of control there, if that makes sense. And there's never been any topics where I've thought, fuck, we're going to have a conversation. I don't imagine you're much the same.
No,
been lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
And if it does come up, it comes up.
Yeah.
But I also think that we are privileged enough in our position, and that we've got a good enough business relationship with somebody that, as far as I'm aware, and all the interactions I've ever had, has great business integrity, would tell us it straight. Yeah. And if the report from us wasn't favourable, then I'm pretty sure as long as it was honest to the truth, it wouldn't matter. Sure. Is that a fair way to put it? Yeah. Yeah. So we've been quite lucky in that regards, but that's a really good question. And if, as a besides, if there's ever any content that we bring up or any topic we approach and you think, no, you're not doing that justice, can you try it for this perspective? Send it to us, man. Let's do it. Let's have conversations. It's great fun. Yeah. Yeah. Except if you're a Tory. Kidding on. I'm kidding on. You know I'm kidding on.
So there's a question from Angus who says, did you ever interview anyone and get so starstruck that you crumbled?
Zach Wilde?
No. My interview with Zach Wilde was incredible. I've thoroughly enjoyed my interview with Zach Wilde.
Were you super nervous before that, though?
Nope.
Oh, no, in fact, that's right, because he had stupid pictures of you and him making faces or something, wasn't that? Here are your faces or something.
There's a picture of me and Zach Wilde, and it was his idea. It wasn't my idea. He was like, have a go on my guitar. And it was the ZV. I was playing the ZV, and he was like, we should take a picture where you do like some crazy chord or some crazy stretch, and it'll be like a picture of me like looking at what you're doing, like being like, how the fuck are you doing that? Type
like
thing.
A YouTube thumbnail.
Exactly. And I was like, yeah, I'm super up for that.
I've seen that picture.
Yeah, I love that.
Is he not doing like this?
Yeah.
like full on getting into the YouTuber mode. Like, kidding on his fucking KSI.
I've interviewed a lot of people, and never ever have I. I've never crumbled. My first ever on camera interview was with Paul Gilbert, who's one of my childhood heroes. Didn't crumble in the slightest.
As opposed to me, who met him once. Yeah. And told him I might kiss him.
And that's just because maybe I take a bit of an arrogant attitude to doing things like that. But the attitude is, I'm not here for any reason other than to have a conversation with a person. I have turned down interviews with people that I don't like or respect. So I only ever interview people that I legitimately love and care about and can talk to in some degree. Fuck's sake. I can talk to with some degree of like there being, I don't want to say like a level playing field in terms of like where we are, but I don't talk to people from that sense. I try not to talk to people from that sense of like, I'm a fan and you're my hero.
Can I rephrase it?
I try and talk like peer to peer.
Can I rephrase it for you? You were meeting them on a professional context. Yeah. And you take your work very seriously. Yeah, you take your own reputation very seriously. Sure. And you knew what you had to get there and speak about, and the, I don't want to say the persona you had to put forward, but the way you had to engage with that person. Obviously, you want to make sure that you are getting a good answer from them, and you're not making a bad impression. For you, or for the publication that
No,
you're involved in. Is
absolutely.
that a better way to put it?
No,
or
totally.
Is that a good way to put it?
Totally. I'm doing the transcriptions for Gus G's new album, and he emailed me after I was recommended to him by Andy James.
That's good.
And
Gus is a killer player.
he's
man.
a great player. And I
I saw
emailed
him
him.
live twice. Once with Firewind, supporting Dragon Force.
Yep.
And once with Ozzy in
yeah.
France. And
Yeah, he's a great player, and I interviewed him like the best part of 10 years ago now, and I emailed him back when he contacted me about doing transcriptions, and his email to me was like an introduction, like introducing himself type thing, and I love people like that. They don't make the assumption that you know who they are type thing. He went to explain who he was, and to put his mind at ease, I was like, really good to hear from you, Gus. I interviewed you in London like years and years ago after the Aussie album came out, and I sent a picture of me and him doing the interview, and I left it with no more information than that. Obviously I talked about transcriptions, and he came back with, holy shit, you're absolutely right, Levi, I'm so sorry I didn't make the connection. That must have been like 10 years ago. That was Guitar Interactive magazine, right? And actually, now you say that, I totally remember that during our interview or after our interview you said to me, if you ever need transcriptions, hit me up type thing. That's what I'm looking for when I interview people. I want like I want to make not an impression, but I want to talk to them on a like a conversational based nature, conversational based setting. The only time I've been starstruck, I'm sure I told this on the podcast before, when I went to the Marshall 50th anniversary thing, I was sat in the VIP area, and I turned around when I sat down to watch the gig, and Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth was sat behind me.
That's a strange one for you to be like.
Yeah, well, because he's the type of person that I think of as being an artist in the pure sense of the word, like an artist, rather than just a guitar player.
Yep, fair
and
enough.
I respect his art, not just his instrument playing. And every part of me wanted to talk to him. Every part of me wanted to, thank him for his music and all that stuff, but I couldn't. And part of it is being starstruck, but part of it is also he's here to enjoy a gig and I don't want to bother him type thing.
I get you in that respect as well. You want to pay homage, but you also don't want to be, as my brother puts it, a punisher.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in somebody's ear just harassing them. And you know what? I don't think there's a single person that wouldn't take a compliment. Yeah. It's when you go over that extra step of like, oh my God, you get it.
One of my my favourite celebrity stories is how I don't have a picture of me and Chris Jericho. And the reason I don't have a picture of me and Chris Jericho is because when I was in LA for the first time, I went to Morton's Steakhouse, the one by one of the film studios, wherever the Friends couch is. Anyway, so I go into this restaurant because it's Mike's singing. There we go, bingo. I'm sat in this
fucking drinking. You know what I mean?
And me and Robin.
Allegedly, I am not a lawyer. TTM, Lance Benedict, Rob Chapman. Fuck the Tories. Political rant. Just get your drinks on. Sorry.
Yeah, let's do that. Me and Robin, my girlfriend at the time, we were the only people sat in this restaurant, right? And I'm eating this glorious steak. And then halfway through my meal, Chris Jericho and his manager walk into this restaurant, and they sit 2 tables over from me, which is a strange place to sit them because there's all this space in there. Literally, it's just the 4 of us in this restaurant. And I want to say, Chris, I've been such a huge fan for such a long time. Like, what are the chances of bumping into you in a restaurant?
But you didn't.
And I didn't for 2 reasons. One, I was wearing a WWE t-shirt, which made me feel dumb as fuck. And 2, it's that idea of I don't want to bother the guy. He's having his fucking dinner.
It's different if you're at an event he's doing.
He's having a business business meeting with his manager. They're talking business. They're eating a meal. They don't want to be fucking bothered. And for that reason, I don't have a picture of me with Chris Jericho, and I'm fine with that.
But I think that you could draw a line in it and going over and just saying thanks very much for all the entertainment. I'm a great fan. I don't want to bother you.
Yeah,
plenty going on. I just want to come over and say thanks for everything you've done and for the importance you have in my entertainment. And just, I don't think that's an unreasonable line to go to. You get me? I know that's so funny, and I was killing myself laughing when you were reading.
I mean, if anything, that is proof that Lance Benedict here on YouTube isn't the Lance Benedict, because we know the Lance Benedict doesn't have $5 to his name,
and he certainly wouldn't incriminate himself as to having somewhere that he could be tracked down for a financial interaction. I think that guy's living in the swamps in Florida somewhere, man, for reals. If it's you, Lance, tell us. Let us know.
Connor says, do you think that the NAMM show will ever recover in terms of hype now that the companies realise there is a cost-effective marketing strategy? No, I think the NAMM show's over. I think the NAMM show didn't need to exist for the last 5 years as it is.
The NAMM show is great for in-person networking.
Yep.
But I think social media has jumped so tremendously in the last couple of years, even before fucking COVID.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see there being another online version of that happening where people will have like maybe not a Zoom call, but like this, watching like a live YouTube video, and this will be the product announcement, and they'll have somebody demoing it
Yeah.
like through a interface or whatever.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. And every reason why they, or no reason why they couldn't. The only difference you're going to have is that people don't have the hands-on they get.
Yeah.
But I don't think the 99% of people who are interested in NAMM make it there. I've never been.
Well, no, totally. It's worth pointing out that NAMM isn't a. They've moved to having a public day,
But it's a consumer
but it's
trade
not.
show.
It's not a consumer trade
Not
show.
consumer
so-
trade show, sorry. It's a
yeah.
business trade show.
Yeah, yeah. It's for members of the industry.
Yeah.
That, like I say, they have moved to having a public day, and that's the day when the industry people don't want to fucking turn up because there's too many people there, type thing. There are other shows to go for if you want a consumer show, but the NAMM show is the North American Music Merchants show. North American Music Merchants show, and the idea is that it's about, it's the business taking place. It's about distributors like John Priest from Peach Guitars. He goes out to the NAMM show every year, and he'll go over to like Sur Guitars and have a big meeting with Sur Guitars about stocking things for Peach Guitars for Sur, and then they'll have a meeting with Fender and things like that, and he's checking out what all the new stock is and really getting a feel for everything that he wants his store to be stocking that year.
Can we distinguish the three types of people, sorry, that go to NAMM then? So there are the people that have the trade
Yep.
exhibits, booth, sorry is the word I was looking for. So you've got your trade booth, you've got the people who are interested in doing business with those people that turn up to sample the goods, speak to them, strike up business deals and get interest. And then there's people like myself and yourself. If we went, hopefully maybe at some point in the next couple of years, I've never been, I know you've had a couple of interactions there, but and speaking of myself specifically, no one else, the lowly peons that are there because they're interested enough in music that they could be a customer, but they're
Yep.
also known enough that they could also be an advocate for another customer. Does that is
Sure.
that fair?
Yeah, no, guys like you would get in because it's easy, not easy to, but you'll get an artist badge. Like the brands
I've
that,
been offered
that
that the last
exhibit-
couple of
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
Yeah.
They all exhibit, and they have enough artist badges that they can give them out, and it's a great opportunity for guys to show up and like network and stuff like that. Every time I've been to the NAMM show, it's been working, and I go with a press badge, which is it's a different thing,
Yeah.
When you have a press badge versus when you have an artist badge. If you go to a booth and you have an artist badge, the assumption is just immediately going to be made that you're there trying to get an endorsement, Whereas when I turn up with a press badge, people want to be really nice to me because they want me to cover their stuff in a magazine or whatever.
Aye, that's it. You're going to be the one that's selling equipment rather than getting it for free.
Yeah.
totally get you. That's fair enough. See, that's always been the impression that I've been given of NAMM is essentially, with no disrespect to the companies or the people who are there trying to network, that it's more or less what can I get and what can you know? Oh, Chris, you're the opposite of Tory. You give your money away. That's probably the best way I can describe it.
Rather than being a hoarder. Yeah.
That's it. So Tory is short for Conservative, as in the Conservative Party of the United Kingdom. They are the party who hold the majority down south in Westminster, so therefore they have the rule of the country. And generally speaking, and this is me trying to be biased and unbiased and impartial, they are a party who generally represent the well-off middle class upwards, and the whole idea of conservatism.
Sure. Name redacted, the winner of the pedal, says that, and again, just a plug, Dead World Audio, the Duality DX, great pedal, check it out.
Big love to Daniel, great guy.
He says that a Tory is a wank pheasant, so...
I thought he's a wank pheasant.
Yeah, a wank pheasant.
He deserved that pedal.
I see Barry McAleenan has said that he wants us to rip into the Acoustic again.
Barry boy, hello sir.
We did it right at the start of the podcast, mate.
So we can get back into it. They're fucking ganting.
Well, put it this way, Barry. I'll tell you what. As soon as Nicola Sturgeon tells me that I'm allowed to come around your house again, I'll come round. We will pick up a whiskey and we will rant about the Acoustic, and we'll rant about Jacob Collier, and we'll rant about Adam Neely, because these are the types of things I do when I hang out with Barry.
You rant about the best in the biz?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Am I really going to do it? Are we really going to do it?
Oh, come on, it's episode 100. If you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it.
Sure, I think there is nobody more deserving of the Grammys that he got, Jacob Collier. Nobody more deserving. Jacob Collier absolutely deserves every single Grammy that he has won.
But
there's no but. Like, he totally deserves them, but it's just...
There's
it's
no
just,
but
It's just not for me. It's just not for me. Like musically,
okay,
it
fair enough.
like all of it just kind of leaves me cold. And I don't want to say the same about Adam Neely, but it's just this idea of intellectualizing music beyond where the average consumer is interested in terms of the intellectualization of music.
I get you.
I think Adam's incredible, like beyond incredible. In fact, Melissa is working on doing a cover of Adam Neely's version of Hello, the Adele.
Tremendous.
Because Adam Neely's version of Adele's Hello is infinitely better than the original recording. Like, it's just incredible. Incredible. Have you had it?
I don't think so. I've heard a few of his
After the podcast, it's
reharmonizations and stuff.
stunning. And she doesn't really like Adele, but she loves Adam's version of that so much. So, like, when he does the music side of things, he's great, but, like, the over-intellectualization of the music thing is just something that I cannot be asked with anymore.
I get you. I totally get you. That there's a lot of bluster in the music scene in that regards, is how, maybe it's rich for me to say, but how complicated can I make this for the sake of it being complicated rather than improving the music? And I get that I'm probably not the right person to make that comment, given that Party Cannon stuff is pretty much all madness and no theory, but there's some in there. There's some in there. I'm not going to go in it. Fuck it. But I kind of feel the same way as yourself. I love Jacob Collier's stuff for how amazing it is.
Yeah.
But almost like the conversation we had earlier on with Melissa, there's a good portion of Stevie Wonder music that's just mental.
Yeah.
And I think, given that Jacob Collier was obviously trained or taught by Herbie Hancock and has that good relationship with him, and that Adam Neely clearly is a very, very well-learned musician.
I love Barry's comment.
They're fond of it. What did Barry say?
He says that the problem with Neely and Collier is that it's intellectual, but it's entirely pompously aware of it.
Aye, you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's like doing the best fart in the world, but then standing and going...
And to be fair, let me be absolutely fair. Like, when Adam Neely drops a new Instagram Q&A video, I'm going to watch it, because I like him. I do like him. I like what he's doing. And every now and again, he'll do a video that just, like,
catches
really grabs me. And I'm just going to keep coming back to it. The arrangement video he did of Hello, the Adele song Hello, is tip-top. Like, it should be studied at every music school, because it's just a wonderful example of how arranging for a band can be done in a way that brings so much more out of the song, and really getting to the inner workings of why the lyrics of the song do, the message that it's trying to put across. It's just an incredibly powerful arrangement. He's incredibly talented. Love him. Love what he does. But at the same time,
not your cuppa.
I don't even want to say not my cuppa. It's just like I'm moving so far away from the intellectualization of the music type thing, and I just want to hear people sit and play songs now.
It's the same as moving away from shred guitar.
Yeah.
It's much less about substance and more about integrity. No integrity. No substance either. Like much less about flash and more about substance. So I'm way to put it.
Sure.
We've got quite a few comments coming in there, and I'm just laughing
at
it.
You're running out of drink. Let me.
Lee Stevens, you are bang on, mate. I get drinker's flush right across, and I have got the rosiest cheeks in the planet. Between Kieran and I, we've got the rosiest cheeks and the longest eyelashes in Britain.
True.
Just happens.
True. And 72.4% of the talent as well.
Who, Kieran?
No, between the two of you, you have the talent that's allocated to Britain.
Right.
Is contained within the McLaughlin brothers.
Who's the other 27.8?
It's not. It's shared out equally among everybody else in the population.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I don't think I contribute much to that 72%, but I'll take the compliment where it comes.
I mean, sure, Kieran is immensely more talented than any of us.
Yes, and the most.
Yeah, but you have your talents. So.
I don't want to say Kieran's ignorant. I think naive, in the most naive way. Kieran has got all that talent. Ricardo, I have never really gave much of the Knee Obliviscaris stuff a listen, but they are fellow Ormsby endorsees like myself, and I really should check them out, just being totally honest. I'm bad for not getting into a lot of new music when it comes to metal, especially stuff that's like more melodic, proggy stuff, because I'm really bad for getting hung up on albums and sticking with certain bands.
Yep. I want to answer Andy Torrance's question. Out of the Ormsbys that you both own, which plays the best? So I only own my Goliath. You like the SX? That makes me so happy.
There is something I've never gelled with a 7-string like this ever. I've only owned a few. I've played a good number, but I've never had one that really sits nice in my hands. Angus, that's the question you asked earlier on. How did Levi and I meet? Well, actually, it was a grinder date. No, come on. It actually started as me drunkenly and belligerently harassing this man about not liking Buckethead.
Yeah.
Genuinely, in the local pub to here.
Sure.
Was that your first time coming up?
Yeah.
The Sean Lane
yeah.
masterclass. There used to be a music.
I gave you a pass because you were wearing a Periphery hoodie.
I was at. I didn't have a Periphery hoodie. Maybe a t-shirt.
Maybe a shirt. But
Must have been a
you were
t-shirt.
wearing something that had Periphery on it.
And that
I
was
was
enough
like,
for you.
all right, I'll give you.
Can you imagine how much different it would be if like you and I hadn't actually became friends?
Yeah.
It's really strange, isn't it?
Enemies. We'd be bitter enemies.
Maybe we are bitter enemies.
Maybe.
Star-crossed enemies. But to answer your question, Levi came to Wishaw. There used to be a music school here who did a lot of master classes with really good names. They had Matthias Acklund come up, Tom Quayle, Rick Graham,
Larry Carlton.
Larry Carlton. That was one that when I worked at Magnum Sound we did the sound for, which was tremendous. So many of them, man. Like it was pretty ridiculous. Anyway, Sean Baxter was up for one of them. And I think you did a couple of solos. You came up for a couple of guest solos and social stuff. And did Lyle play as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mark was there as well, wasn't he?
Mark Bart was there.
And Master the Guitar Mark.
Yeah. And Neil Mellor was up.
That's right.
Yep.
Rowan was there. Big Loose Cannon was there. There was a whole lot of really good guitarists, a lot of good musicians. Mark Butt, as you said, was there. Like people local to Wishaw. And it was a great night. But anyway, this is all just in like a local fucking bowling club. Us just cracking on. And as Andy says, good old Gurwoods, we ended up at the pub afterwards, which seems to be the case. I mean, I think it was more of a, you're a famous guitarist, come and do a couple of hours where you be serious and then we'll all just get really fucked and make a racket in the pub, which was great. But that then turned to, I'd saw Levi, you still had your long hair at the time.
Yeah.
And I believe you brought the Ruby Wetton with you, because I remember seeing it and being like, that's a fucking really nice guitar, by the way.
Really nice guitar.
Gorgeous. Anyway, like, I don't even think you and I had a conversation. I think you were talking to Kendall, and Kendall said something about you not liking Buckethead, or he said something about Buckethead, and you said you didn't, and I was half cut, so I'm like, I fucking tell man, and just started fucking.
That's a pretty good impression.
That's me.
That's what it sounded like.
It's not an impression, that's a rendition of myself. Just spewing this nonsense, and you were just like, it's not for me. And then, I think just for then, it was just casual interactions and hanging out, and then
you would. I remember you sending me like Party Cannon Guitar Pros. I was like, try playing this.
I think that was right. I like. You seem as if you're really into guitar stuff. for many reasons, mostly it's noise. It's just noise.
But yeah, we that was our first meeting. But we got a lot in common in terms of musical interests, and we're both very compassionate people, and we both like a drink. And
that's why you live in Scotland now.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm going to respond to Darren Watson's question. So Darren said, "What's the script with you, Levi, and Signal's Music Studio moving forward?" One of my favourite channels. So for long-time followers of my YouTube channel, anytime I run my credits on YouTube, I'm not going to run the whole thing, but anytime you see me cut to this, where I run my credits on a YouTube video, and it scrolls through my supporters on Patreon, you'll see Jake Lizio appears in that. Jake's been a long time supporter of my channel. I love Jake's videos, and I love Jake Lizio. He's an incredibly talented, passionate. He's got a lot of integrity as well as a musician, and he watches a lot of the stuff that I'm putting out. And every now and again, we'll have a catch up and a chat type thing. And I love doing things with him just because I like him as a person. But also his channel is massive, so there's also that beneficial side of things of me wanting to do things with him, so it brings a few more people to my channel. So we are working on a collaboration project at the moment. I'm not going to spoil what we're working on, but we're doing an educational series of things together for his channel that should come out and be pretty fucking good. I don't want to sit here and say go and subscribe to Signal's Music Studio, because if you're into that type of thing on YouTube, you're probably familiar with who he is, because he's got 400,000 subscribers or something like that. He's literally 10 times bigger than I am. But if you aren't familiar, Jake's videos, he's great. So,
Just to get back into the comments.
Yeah.
credit where credit's due. Barry McAleenan talking about playing Larry Carlton's solo for Kid Charlemagne better than him.
Yeah.
You also played Josie, and it's the first time I'd ever heard somebody playing Josie, and you did it on Larry's 335 through his signal path. And I had a video of it on my phone for quite a few years, and I remember watching it and being like, when I'd heard the original track afterwards, like, you fucking got that, and like, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So credit to you, Barry.
Barry's a great player.
Yeah, prick.
Yorkie Mike says, quick question. A few videos ago, Levi hinted at some beef or something between him and Beato's community. So I don't have a beef between me and Beato's community. There's no beef between me and Rick Beato at all. I'm sure I could probably jump on Skype right now and send Rick Beato a message and bring him in for a call. Like, me and Rick are cool. It's not a beef. It's more of an issue. Not an issue. But me and Rick have been talking about collaborating on a video for it's almost 3 years now, and it's just never happened. And I have to make assumptions on why that has never happened, you know, because it's not for lack of want on my part. That's all I can say on that one.
It's hard going, man.
So,
Trying to lock up schedules can be a nightmare. Never
yeah,
mind the fact they're different countries.
I have to look at it and say, make the assumption that it's because of who I am and the content that I make, and that would I'm what you might consider to be an undesirable
Liability.
a liability. Yes, probably the best way of putting it.
I mean, I think about that every single time you and I record this podcast, but I'm the same.
Right, let me.
I remember being singled out when I was at high school for another band, a band that I didn't even listen to at the time's band name being too offensive, and I got shit for it, and I was like, pardon? So a band that has nothing to do with me, and I need to be held to account to the fact this band is a name you don't like.
Yeah. Barry McAleenan says, my task when I come to see him is to make him a bourbon drinker. That's really easy to do. You like a single malt, I like a single malt too. I would happily sit and drink single malts with you all night because single malt Scottish whiskies are incredible and should never, ever be mixed with anything. Whereas bourbon is a much sweeter drink, you know? And when you drink an old fashioned, you don't want to put a single malt in this, you know? You don't want to put a single malt in this.
No,
a bourbon works wonderfully in this. So what I will say to you, Barry, is I'll come over and I'll make some old-fashioned cocktails. And then you'll be like, okay, I can totally see a great use for bourbon now. And then from that, you might then go, okay, I see what the bourbon thing's about. Maybe I could drink a bourbon and eat bourbon. And
an old-fashioned and a mint julep. Can't go wrong with both of them as cocktails when it comes to bourbon.
So Andy says that's how you and him met as well.
It probably could be, to be fair.
Just you screaming about but
Bucket!
Yeah, there's a lot of people like jumping in here and maybe being a little bit concerned that maybe I don't like Rick Beato. I do like a lot of the stuff Rick Beato makes. I take a little bit more issue with the you know, the 5 list type thing, the I listened to the top 5 Spotify things, but much respect to Rick. Like, he's playing the YouTube game in a way that I'm not willing to. He does what he needs to do in order to be popular, and he's running a business at the end of the day. So again, I take no issue with that.
And what makes this song great? That content is
excellent,
unbelievable,
absolutely excellent. So yeah, if
the very fact that he managed to get the studio stems and then talks you through them, and obviously he's got intimate knowledge of whatever musician did, what the engineer did. It's like knowledge that you just aren't privy to.
Sure.
So credit where credit's due.
So when he's doing those types of videos, there's a reason he's as successful as he is, and it's not because he just follows trends. You know, he follows trends to signal boost what he's doing, but the stuff that really sticks with people is good content. And yeah, those educational videos, fantastic. So
when I'm talking about Spoon Man,
David Emery says, "Is Melissa still there, quietly crouched in the corner?" She's in the house because, of course, my studio isn't. I get these comments not every single day, but I had one today. And YouTube has started filtering my comments now, where if something has a swear word in it, it doesn't remove. I don't know where the comment goes. I can't even see the comment. I'll get the notification. I'll click it to view it, and then the comment isn't there.
I think they call that shadow ban.
I can't, but then you'd think I could go into my comment reviews and find it there, but it's not there. Anyway, the amount of people that I will get, like, on my Stevie T video are like, you know what you really need to do, man? You need to just get out of your mum's basement and, like, move on with life. And I just...
If only they knew.
Yeah, I just want to be like, motherfucker, I live in a different country to my mum. I moved to a different country. I bought a house and I built a studio. My mum's fucking basement.
Hashtag queen shit. I love it.
We're on to the Balvenie now.
Oh my goodness. Surely we didn't neck that bottle in like 3 drinks.
Mike,
There's literally
after
a
2
shot.
drinks, that was virtually gone.
Right,
Um,
cool. So we're a bottle of whiskey in then. We're doing good.
Give me some more.
You're such a star. Thank you very much.
So now we're doing something that I've not done in years, which is an old-fashioned cocktail, but made with Scotch whiskey.
I've made it a tiny bit sweeter because it is
Sure.
it's quite a peaty.
Balvenie Doublewood. I love
My
that you know
favourite
your
whiskey.
whiskies.
I might be a Jippo, but I'm a Scottish Jippo. So.
You can't say that out loud.
Oh,
I'm going to clip
sorry,
that.
sorry.
I'm going to clip it and sample it in the Party Cannon album.
You can say that out loud, but people are going to assume that you're a bad person when you say that. But Melissa is actually Roma, so that's.
They're not going to assume that you're a bad person for it. They're going to assume you're a bad person for making that distinction.
How do
You're
you
a
mean?
bad man.
I'm not, mate. No,
You put the context on that comment.
you think?
Yes.
I think the context is really fucking important in that particular
It
example,
is.
because you do hear people's like
People see it as a term of
dating Melissa now, someone
Negativity.
that has that fucking heritage. Like, I'm much more aware when I hear somebody talking like amongst themselves and something bad that they feel someone's done them wrong, and their response is, "Oh yeah, they gypped me," and I want to be like, have you thought about where that term comes from and why you think that would be an acceptable?
gypped and piked are two terms I hear quite a lot.
I'd never heard piked, and I still haven't.
I heard somebody saying it. I got
No.
piked or I piked that.
Sure, but I'd know. Yeah, the point is, I'd know what it meant if they said it. And gypped, up until dating Melissa, I'd never really thought about it. But now I hear it, I'm like, I know exactly what. And you don't realise why you're saying what you're
Of
saying,
course
but at
not.
its root, that's where that comes from, and it's
That's
not
fucking
good, so
delicious, by the way. Thanks very much, Melissa.
That's right.
It's funny you say that, right? There's another insipid thing that's said a lot in Scotland. Certainly, I was brought up saying it, not out of badness, just because that was the common colloquial term. It was only afterwards I
Oh,
realised.
that's better than the bourbon.
So good, innit? I only realised how offensive it could be taken. Ice cream vans. What would you call an ice cream van?
Well, yeah, so I know what you're going to say, but we to me, just an ice cream van.
So in Scotland, central Scotland, west of Scotland, tally van.
Yeah.
And it's not out of badness. You just knew it as the tally, but the context is Italian.
Yeah.
And it was the Italians who started having ice
Sure.
cream vans and ice cream companies whenever these became popular. So
Right.
crazy.
I'm trying to get through all these comments. I've just seen Paul
That's
Gale's one
mental.
coming.
Paul's sent us more money. Fucking, what is going on here, man? You said off your nut. Chris sent us money as well.
Yeah,
Chris,
more
Chris,
Chris.
come on to fuck, man. Have you got like 300 Bitcoin hidden somewhere?
So while I like, part of me wants to reach out to people that have been as generous as Chris has. Like, I've had a lot of people in my career that have been extremely generous to me, and I want to be like, mate, there's really fucking no need. But then I think that there are so many people out there that have just like made a fortune on Bitcoin or made a fortune on like game stonks.
I wish it was me. I like how you called it stonks.
Oh yeah,
Meme king.
down with the memes. And then like Chris with his generosity, like the way I see it is, again, we said it earlier, it's like that socialist thing. Like, if you are able to put back into the community that you love and enjoy, then you should absolutely, not saying you should do that, but like it's a good feeling to do that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's not. There's not been a comment made towards people supporting us that's been don't do that. I know I've kind of been a bit hyperbole. I do wear my heart on my sleeve and I say things that I don't necessarily mean as a complete direct, literal part of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm taken aback, but it doesn't mean I don't appreciate that we're being looked after
Yep.
and that people are being nice to us. So I get you.
Angus says, you said before lockdown that you were putting on a guitar thing with Jack Gardner and Tom Crowell and stuff. Any plans to put on a digital? No, we won't be doing a digital one. That was put on by Guitar Vivo, which is Luke Lewis's company. That got cancelled due to COVID, but we
Is that
absolutely
supposed to be
intend
coming with you?
Yeah, that's absolutely going to happen at some point. So that will happen. Don't worry about that.
Who fancies a Guitar Holes live Q&A?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say to Luke, like, we'll just do that for the sake of it if people are into
If I'm
that.
going to be there and you're going to be there, I'm totally down. Why don't we just get fucking steaming and talk shite? Game?
Yeah.
Totally game.
I need to answer Paul Gale's comment just because he super chatted and I don't want it to disappear. So why is Jacob Collier a big deal? I've listened to him a fair bit, but other than Perfect Pitch, being multi-instrumentalist, I don't see what's so special. Leaves me cold. No boomer gags, please.
Totally fair.
No, I totally understand where you're coming from, Paul. And the comment that I made about Jacob is like, I believe, and I say it with confidence, I think Jacob Collier is one of the most musically gifted people on the planet. His understanding of music on a granular level is so far beyond, I think, anybody else in existence.
It's frightening, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a second fucking tongue.
But it leaves me cold. it's not, I don't like his music. Having said that,
Some of his pop music's all right.
when somebody asks why he's a big deal, it's, to me at least, it's because he's bringing that. There's a powerful, his vocal harmonies have a powerful human element to them, and he's bringing that, I think, interest into the popular eye a little bit, only a little bit. So I wouldn't say that he's a big deal in terms of what he's doing to too much of a degree, but I think he's important, he's relevant at the moment because he's bringing a musical twist to things that prior to him doing that, who was doing that?
I think the big problem with Jacob Collier, for me, just leading on to what you're saying there, answering Paul's question, if you're not into reharmonisation and crazy jazz and just like departures into, like, what's it, because it's like negative melody? Not negative melody. There's a term he uses.
Negative harmony.
Is it negative
Yeah,
harmony?
yeah,
I
negative
couldn't remember
harmony, yeah.
exactly the term. As I say, I'm a fucking dunce when it comes to theory. But I think he takes such a deep dive that it's easy to find this stuff just a bit more about the paperwork than it is about the substance. And I don't want to say Adam Neely's the same, but I think maybe that's what you were getting at earlier on. It can be dead easy for it to be more about, look at the musical flexibility.
Look what
than
we
it is
can
about
do.
what I can do. Ah, exactly. Like,
Look what I'm
and what
capable
suits.
of, rather than what should I do.
But see,
Look what I can do, rather than what should I do.
I think, and this again might be a bit of a divisive comment, with Jacob Collier, I think when he does covers and he does reharmonisations of things, for example, the Stevie Wonder "Don't You Worry About a Thing" cover, unbelievable, unbelievable. But when it comes to the original music, I just don't have the same affiliation.
Same.
And maybe that's because I've got like a romantic, nostalgic link to the songs he's covering.
Yeah.
But not the same to his original content.
Yeah.
Maybe I just find it a wee bit contrived, isn't the right word, but a bit self-aggrandizing.
Oh, I like that.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's
I like
it's
that.
like I know I can do really cool things that people won't think about, so I'm just going to do them, rather than, is this the best next step for the music, for the feel, for the emotion?
Yeah, and I'll plug her again, right? When I first met Melissa and I listened to her music, well, I'll be completely honest. I met Melissa on Tinder, and I saw a picture of a girl playing a guitar.
And you're like, so right swipe,
Would rub genitals, swipe right.
rip the screen clean off his phone so hard with his finger.
Yeah. No, and I sent her a message just saying like, "Oh,
Hey,
cool,
baby.
you play guitar. Like, what is it that you do? Like,
Kawaii
I
desu.
work in guitar."
XD.
And I'm expecting.
Sorry.
I'm expecting the same answer I think a lot of people are expecting in that, like, oh, you know, I write 3-chord songs and I sing at open mic night type things.
Do you like Green Day?
Yeah,
Oasis are just so good.
exactly. Yeah, I know 3 chords and I have a capo. I'm a songwriter type thing. So when she sent me her albums to check out, I was just like, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at like what Jacob's doing or what Adam Neely is doing, I don't want to say that I'm putting Melissa on that same pedestal.
So sexist of you, but I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yes.
Well,
And probably the same way that a lot of women see guys on
sure.
fucking Tinder or whatever dating sites and seeing my guitar and
Sure.
go, fuck off.
Yeah, I'd have a similar vibe, because you just don't assume that somebody that posts a profile picture is a full-time professional musician, you know, with an 11-piece band that they pay.
The stereotype of somebody on Tinder with their instrument is one of their main pictures, I think.
Yeah.
Just generally is like, that's more your personality than your personality is.
Sure.
Not being rude, just being honest. Because if you're putting
Sure.
that out there as something that's integral to you,
Yeah.
then of course people are going to get caught up in it.
Whereas, when I think of like Jacob, or I think of
Just a
Adam,
quick distraction. We've got 66 up likes and 6 down votes. So we're actually at the devil's number.
Okay.
Love it. Sorry,
Yeah.
continue.
while I respect Jacob and Adam, like a lot of the time when I listen to Jacob Collier's pop stuff, it feels to me that a lot of it is like, hey guys, check out my music because you know how talented I am, right? Like, check it out. I'm really fucking talented. Check out my music. Let me show you how talented I am when I make music. And maybe massively derogatory, but I just don't get that mentality when I sat and listened to Melissa's Love Letters to the Master type thing. It just felt like somebody who had a lot that they wanted to say, who sat down at a piano and wrote some songs. And I mean, she's got a master's in songwriting, so like lyrics and songwriting are extremely important to her. But
Incredibly
I feel
conscious about how she portrays emotion and
to me, there's just so much depth that I can get from it in terms of listening to the lyrics and trying to understand what it is that the person's trying to say, what their message is, versus what I feel what Jacob does a lot of the time is he's putting across a very strong emotional hit on you, if you like, but it's being done mathematically. It's being done because I have a thorough understanding of where notes with my voice need to be in terms of their tuning for the chord to be truly in tune with itself, and how that chord would then resolve to this chord. And I love all of that stuff, don't get me wrong, from a music nerd perspective, but from the perspective of listening to a piece of art and listening to somebody who has a story to tell, it's interesting to me. Like I'm not anti-feminism, but I don't really consider myself like a feminist in the way that a lot of Twitter, the Twitter feminism type thing. Whereas
you're not militant.
Exactly. Whereas
people
I'm a supporter of equal rights.
Yeah. People get themselves so ingrained in this being something I'm passionate about, it becomes the thing that they are.
Yeah. And but that for me, like when I listen to Love Letters, it's an album about feminism. It's about an album about the struggles that
lived experience.
Melissa's
lived
the
experience.
Song. It's the inspiration behind a lot of it though was like witch trials and things like that, and the reason things like that really happened, because you've got to do something about dangerous women type thing. So songs like Sister Don't Burn.
She must have been a witch if she doesn't burn.
Yeah, there's so much in there for me to really think about from an artistic perspective and a societal perspective, and I've never really been that person when it comes to music and the artistic side of things and the expression of the societal issues and that. And it's a newer experience for me that I can't even close to get from a Jacob Collier song. I just can't.
I don't think Jacob Collier has enough negative lived experience to, and that's me just making a total assumption on the fact that every time I see him he's smiling. So shoot me down if I'm totally wrong, and that's not me being ignorant.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's got enough negative lived experience, or certainly enough vested interest in things that have probably affected him and his ancestors.
I don't want to say to Paul that I don't think for a second that you are trying to be snarky on Jacob. I don't think you're being snarky at all.
No, of course not. Was that for me ringing it earlier on by any chance?
No, it was just now someone was at my front door. Motion at my front door.
Right, commotion?
Tell me that's... She's actually walking my dogs.
Oh.
What a fucking star.
So cute.
Yeah, so...
I think playing in a band that takes the instrumentation and the performance seriously, but not necessarily the sentiment, kind of discards my opinion on what should be serious and what shouldn't be when it comes to music and stuff. But I do think that there are a lot of artists I've listened to in the last 5 to 10 years that the more I listen, the more I realise how relevant and how deeply personal the lyrics are. Dream Brother, Jeff Buckley.
Yep.
Song literally wrote after an open letter that his dad wrote. All about how his experience was it don't be like the one that made me grow so old.
Right.
Don't be like the one that left me left behind. Like, it's crazy lyrics about basically like, I was waiting on my dad coming back to me, but you can't wait on that person if they don't come back.
Yeah. And
such a personal line.
It's taken me to 32 years of age to learn to appreciate stuff like that and to crave stuff like that. I wrote an album of rock songs, and when I did that, there was no... I mean, there are a couple of moments on there where I started to touch on that. Leaving London's a good example of that.
Flyaway's a perfect example, because any time I try to sing along with that album, this is genuine God's honest truth, right hand to God. Yeah. When I start singing that chorus, Fly Away, Bird of Prey, Too Beautiful to Live in a Cage, I genuinely well up. Because I know where you were coming from, and I know what you went through. And it was before I even really knew you. Yeah. But not the point. I know you.
Yeah.
And it's like that, such a beautiful way to remember somebody.
I didn't have the connection to write that as a song, though, when I wrote that. I wrote that as a piece of poetry because my gran had just died and she was really important
beautiful.
to me. So the poetry side of things was really fucking important to me. And then I turned that into a song. And now, at 32 years of age, I'm starting to listen to songs and I'm putting so much more thought into the lyrics. And I'm taking issues with songs that I think are great that have dumb lyrics. Like the example I laugh at with Melissa all the time is Elton John, Your Song. Beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. At its core, the idea of just that lyric, and you can tell everybody that this is your song. The idea that the gift is I'm giving you a song. This is your song, type thing. It's such a wonderful idea. But the second verse in that song, the lyric is, if I was a sculptor, but then again, no. And then he laughs and says, or a man that makes potions in a travelling show. Like what were you thinking there? And it's not Elton, it's Bernie Taupin. But
who wrote all the songs?
If I was a sculptor, but then again, no. So what you've said is, if I was this thing, but actually ignore the fact that I said if I was this thing. You've written a line, then you've cancelled it out.
I think it's more of a stream of consciousness, kind of meant to be very personal, off the cuff. That's the vibe I get from it. But I know what you mean. In terms of poignant lyrics, you take away from this beautiful sentiment of, I've wrote a song for you because you mean so much to me. And then, if I was a sculptor, if I was Michelangelo, but no, so...
But
no?
I know, because the idea is, if I was a sculptor, but then again, no, or a man who makes potions in a travelling show, the idea is that I believe my understanding is like, I don't have much, I can't give you much because of my background, so I've written you a song type thing. So I have to look at it, I'm like, I honestly feel I've improved that lyric. The lyric should clearly have been something along the lines of, if I was a sculptor, just a face you don't know. Or a man who makes potions in a travelling show. That makes more sense than to say, if I was a sculptor, but then again, no, and then laugh. Like, maybe
it's a sign of personal vulnerability.
Potentially.
I don't know what the analysis has been between you and Melissa, and I've never thought of it, so this is just me off the cuff.
Yeah.
But,
the other one is in...
Yeah. Yeah.
The other one's in Rocket Man, where he describes it.
He's a fucking Rocket Man.
I know, sorry, it's in Tiny Dancer. In Tiny Dancer, where he uses the lyric, pirate smile. What the fuck is a pirate smile? To me, when you say pirate smile, you're talking about someone missing a tooth.
A black tooth grin.
Yeah.
A bourbon and Coke with just a splash of Coke. Chris, if you're next in Glasgow, I'm going to buy you dinner. I'm going to take you out
with his own money
to a nice seafood restaurant and never call you back. Sorry.
I want to jump on Yavor's comment. I know he's left now, but I think Levi's not going to buy bourbon anytime based on his face. How do you feel about this drink?
I feel as if it's got a percentage and I'm happy with it. But on a really serious note, it's really enjoyable.
There's a flavour in that, and I can't put a word to it.
It's the orange in the syrup. No, it is. I'm not.
No, that's silly. Not there. That's with the bourbon. It's a pepperiness, maybe.
Bitters?
No, because again, bitters are in the other drink. There's a flavour to this that just wasn't present with the bourbon, and it's a complexity, and I fucking love it.
I think it's like a kind of honey. It's like the sugar's binding to something in the bourbon.
This isn't bourbon. This is Balvenie.
Sorry, the Balvenie. Not a bourbon, the Scotch. Is it not a sherry cask when you do a double wood?
Yeah.
So it could be the sweetness coming out for that. I don't know. Can we quickly read through the comments? Because I think people have been kind of dropping off, given that it's now 11:15.
Yeah,
and everybody else who has jobs and or responsibilities has probably getting close to bed.
We'll clock off at some point soon, guys.
Nah. We'll stay we're all night. It's bizarre, man. People just being so nice to us. I just want to kind of go through the comments and see if we can catch up on anything else we need
to. Barry says it's respect Collier's career path. Easy to forget that he's a virtuoso pianist. He could have easily went down the traditional jazz path, push boundaries there too. And yeah, I agree with that. But part of me is like, well, is that not trying to do the smart thing? Like, well, I don't want to try and be a jazz pianist because there's no money in jazz. So let's see if we can use my contacts with Quincy to market myself to a pop audience.
Nah, as somebody that talented and versatile, I don't think there's a single musical market that Jacob probably couldn't understand and just go, fuck it, right, if we're doing 4 chords, I'm going to make sure this chord does this and that does that. I think if it came to writing a simple song, he could do it. He chooses not to. Because you see, have you ever watched the videos of him going through his Pro Tools sessions?
Yeah.
Like 7 million layers and 25 of them are like fucking frogs ribbiting that he's harmonised, and you're like, what? Like, how do you think of these layers? Where do you get the brain space to go, fuck it, we'll just go 950 different channels on this fucking session? Where does it come from? A terabyte of RAM in his computer must be fucking sitting there, man. There's some craziness going on.
I'm pleased to see that Name Redacted has told me that he's Toad on Discord, so I know exactly who that is now. So
Fantastic. I knew you'd said you were going to chat to us in Discord anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I think Levi and I got into a bit of whiskey-fueled...
Chris Jordan, give us the truth. What's your recipe for buffalo wings? Incredibly simple. No good for you because you're not really a meat eater anymore.
Yes, I am.
From time to time.
Just when I want to be.
Exactly.
I do take liberties. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a good vegan.
Chris, buffalo wings are incredibly easy to make. People overwork buffalo wings, and there's no need to overwork buffalo wings, okay? Take your wings, chop them so they're separated from the leg to the drumstick, okay? Salt them, and deep fry them. That's all you need to do, right? You deep fry those motherfuckers for about 12 minutes. They will have a wonderful crispy exterior on them. Take them out, toss them in Frank's Red Hot Buffalo sauce. That's all you need. It's perfection. It is perfection. Perfection. So, yeah.
Frank's fucking Red Hot Buffalo sauce is perfection in general. I'm not kidding. I go to fucking Costco just to get some fuel. Even if I don't need fuel, I'll go in anyway. But it's because I can buy 2 almost litre bottles of buffalo hot sauce for a £5.
Yeah.
And I use that shit constant. I mean, Tech 9 has a great rap song called Sriracha. If I had to release a rap song about how good I was, it would be called Buffalo Hot Sauce. Because I do put that on everything.
Yeah, and I've said to Mike, there's a wings restaurant in Glasgow that we never went to, and because restaurants, but wings in Edinburgh, that's where I really want to be.
Let's do it.
Darren's telling me I'm wrong. No, perfection. Wings are an incredibly simple thing, and they don't need to be overdone.
I'm not going to dispute what Darren's got to say straight off the bat, because I see him posting food all the time, even seafood. And I don't like seafood. I have a really bad tolerance to it, and I don't mean it as in like I don't like the taste, but it turns my stomach. And every time I see him posting things, even like fucking prawns and mussels and oysters and fucking lobster and whatever, I'm like, oh my god, that looks so fucking good. So you know what, Darren?
No, to be fair, like Darren is a man who I would love to have cook for me. Like, I'd be fine eating Darren's cooking. I just
Guitar Souls Darren episode.
To me, wings are kind of like a cocktail, in the sense that there are so many ways that you can make a cocktail. I'm still going to enjoy it. It's still a cocktail. But I know too many people that have tried to make buffalo wings, and they try and overdo them, and they try and do all these bits of flair on them that ultimately just takes away from the glorious thing of what a buffalo wing should be, which is a well-cooked piece of chicken with a crispy exterior and good buffalo hot sauce on it.
Are you bothered about it just being the skin being crispy, or is batter allowed? Because I'm all for like KFC's mini wings, the hot wings. I don't think the chicken's very good, but the batter's delicious.
It's a totally different thing. You couldn't make a buffalo wing like that, I've tried doing different things with bread in my wings, and I just come back every single time that fried crispy skin on wings is just perfection.
Darren, there are very few people in the world that would convince me to eat mushrooms, and I don't even think you'd be one, despite the fact I've seen you posting things like garlic mushrooms and went, I mean, if I wanted to eat mould, they're the ones I would go for.
No, I'm not even going to try and convince you on that one. So.
Lee asked this question earlier on. Lee, I saw this earlier on. I'm really sorry. There's also been a couple other people have asked questions. I'm just going to read the 2 that I wrote down. And then
you're
we'll
right.
go with yours as well, Lee. I'm sorry. Just I try to be quick about writing things down. Someone asked the favourite riff that we have from a band we dislike. What's your favourite band from a band, or favourite riff from a band you don't like?
Oh wow,
it's really interesting. That's quite a difficult one. You want to think on that one, and I'll answer the next one.
Sure.
And it was Scott Van Rice asked how you met Count Dankula, and I think that was potentially to both of us, but I think it was more so.
That's a quick and easy one. I met Marcus at my wedding. Believe it or not, I met Marcus at my wedding. Because he came with Sue. Obviously, I've been friends with Sue a lot longer than I've been friends with Marcus. I sent him a message, just a private message on Facebook right after Nazi Pug happened, and I saw shit going down with him, and was like, just want you to know, I thought your video was pretty funny, and I think what's happening to you is really shitty, and if there's anything that I can do, if there's anywhere I can support you, just let me know. Cause
My name is Levi Clay, and I have substantial power on the internet. Don't make me call my minions.
I'm Rob Chapman. I'm Size.
That was the joke.
Yeah, I'm Size.
Okay, like that.
So yeah, that was how I met Marcus
Mm-hmm.
at my wedding.
I can't remember the first time I met Marcus, but it was way before the YouTube thing happened. Because I got Sue and Marcus interviews for jobs at the place I worked.
Right.
And I think that was kind of how I met Marcus. And then things all kicked off with his YouTube and stuff, which was cray. And that was that, to be honest. And you know what? Like, I'm sure this is a conversation that's been avoided many, many times. You get constant comments of, how can you be friends with him when you are so politically misaligned? You and I are fairly politically misaligned in some degrees.
Yeah, I think in some degrees
I don't think you're as misaligned for Marcus as people would anticipate. I think they maybe just don't understand that the majority of what Marcus says online is just inflammatory nonsense.
No, I would agree with that. There are definitely political views that Marcus holds that I vehemently disagree with.
Aye, fair.
But
he's incredibly anti-EU, isn't he? Very much against the European Union, which I don't agree with either. But that doesn't mean that I dislike him as a person, because I've never been in company where he said something that I've went, fucking hell, that's abhorrent.
Absolutely.
I've never seen him post anything online that's not been literally tongue-in-cheek or enough in response to something that's like overly serious, where he's just been flippant and went against the grain. Yeah. And that's just me personally. I've had this conversation with people personally who've been like, well, here's evidence of, as far as I'm concerned, him not taking things seriously or whatever else. And I'm not denying them in any way, shape or form. Sure. I don't speak for Marcus and what his true intentions are. Yeah. The best way I could put it is there's never been any instances where I felt I had to say something to him that's out of order. Because he's never said anything that's been blatantly disrespectful or horrible, nor has it been anything that's been maliciously said. Yeah. We've had jokes about things in company, but it's never been anything that's been like, wait a minute, man, like, that's no funny. You're not being funny, you're being horrible.
Sure, yeah.
You get me? And you and I have had sick fucking comments. That the majority of times that you and I start recording for here and we're like, right, we'll just start again and we'll delete that bit. Not out of badness. Just don't really want to get fucking
me and Marcus
cancelled
align in terms of, like, we believe in anybody's right to live the life that they want to live. Mm-hmm. So supporters of trans rights, supporter of gay rights, supporter of women's rights. As much as I'm not religious, and I think religion's a cancer upon society, I'm supportive of people's religious rights, because you should be able to live the life that you want to live.
We had this kind of conversation almost earlier on, not quite the same, but definitely similar with Melissa. And I think the way I would distinguish it, I meant to say earlier on, was I don't have a problem with faith. I have a problem with organised religion. And not that a sense that I don't think people shouldn't be involved in organised religion, but I think it's a very easy vehicle for being distracted from what you feel is a good value versus what you're being told is a good value. Yeah. Like, I think faith, if you believe in something, and I don't care if that is like an organised faith, like, fill your boots if you believe everything the Catholic Church says, or the Church England, or it doesn't really matter at all. The Baha'i faith, fucking Buddhism, Sikhism, it really honestly doesn't matter. If you believe that and you are not a bad person for acting on those beliefs and you use that to better yourself, I love you. I love everything about you. I think that's it must be great to be able to take moral pointers and behavioural pointers from organised religion and the examples that are set out in the verses in the Bible or whatever religious script that you believe in. But I think it's very easy to fall down the rabbit hole of, I was told X and therefore I must believe X.
Sure.
And as someone who was brought up Catholic, I'm not saying that because I would never want to say anything that would upset my granny, which is the probably context I would go from when I'm talking about religion. My gran is strongly Catholic. I'm wearing a swinging Jesus right now, a wee swinging Jimmy, a wee crucifix. And I wear that not because I'm particularly Catholic, although I was brought up Catholic, fully ordained into the Catholic Church, fucking confirmed and all that. I got to eat the Jesus body, you didn't I got to pick a confirmation name. My patron saint is St. Leo, and I picked St. Leo because his name was St. Leo the Great, and I thought it was the coolest of all the saints.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Just about, aye.
Yeah, I got to go to Sunday school, but it's just so my parents could do heroin.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure when I went to Sunday school, it's so my mum and dad could have some private time as well, but I don't think it involved needles.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, maybe. Like, who knows? Anyway, stop distracting me. We're trying to answer questions here, and I'm half cut, and there's people probably want to go to their bed.
Johnny, also don't shove it down your own children's throats. I think that's the important thing for me. That's for me is the line. It's the indoctrination side of things. It's one thing to shove it down my children's throats, but I also take issue with you shoving it down your own children's throats.
Yes.
Because you should have enough respect in your children and enough kind of confidence in your religious position, in your faith-based position, in the book that you lead your life by. You should have enough confidence in that it would stand on its own merits enough that your children would come to the same conclusions that you have. That for me, that's the big thing. And of course, that's never going to happen because everything kind of dies out. If everything dies out unless you kind of force it to carry on.
Here's my honest, sincere opinion as someone who was brought up, as I say, within the Catholic Church, fully went through all the Catholic stuff in school as well as religiously. I think the idea is a foundation for a moral compass that should take the stories from the Bible, not literally, but figuratively, as what they are, they're parables, to help you guide yourself in ways of setting basic tenets, for example, maybe that's the right word for it, but basic rules of what you should do and what you shouldn't. Like the Ten Commandments is vague, right, and it's shitty, but I get that the idea behind that was if you want to live a good life and be happy and fulfilled, here's probably what we think you should do.
Yeah. You're not a practicing Catholic.
I am
But
not.
you were raised Catholic. What's number one on the Ten Commandments?
I genuinely don't know.
Thou shalt have no gods before me. That was the most important thing.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And they shall not
Jealous
worship
God.
false idols and all
False
that.
idols, yeah.
That
comes a long time before murder.
Please don't think that I think the idea of God or organised religion is infallible.
Sure.
I don't.
No.
I think the very idea that someone can say, I am God and nothing else can exist at the same level as me, instantly makes it you're not a benevolent and beautiful leader. You are a malevolent and horrible controller.
Dude, I've known you for like 6 years, and tonight, sitting over dinner, was the first time I think I've ever heard you talk about being raised Catholic. I noticed when I saw you the other day that you were wearing the thing. That's the first time I've ever noticed it.
I've never worn this for the last 6 years.
Right.
My granny's went into hospice, obviously, she's not well. She's actually, just a wee update for you, I think I told you this in the last episode, she's actually doing really well in the hospice. They seem to be managing her pain really good. She's got a Google Nest or a Amazon Echo or something in her room, and she's been listening to music and talking a lot, and you know what, man, see if she's comfortable. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah.
That's all I can ask for.
So after 6 years hearing you, you didn't describe yourself as a Catholic, but you said I was raised that way. And then Melissa did ask the question of like, do you believe in God then? And we don't need to run through that conversation. But the point was, I was sat here going, Jesus Christ, no pun intended. I'm like, man, I badmouth religion a lot on that podcast. Mike must feel really uncomfortable.
Not at all. Not at all. And I think that's the
Not
wonderful
that I'm
thing.
apologetic for it.
No, but you shouldn't be either. That's the beautiful thing I think about your and I's relationship. Nothing you would say about anything that wasn't directly Mike, you did X and it made me Y. I won't say would, but shouldn't ever affect me because it's not a judgment on me. You're thinking about other things. And that's cool, you know what I mean? If the monitor's been on that whole time.
Yeah.
So if there's been
We
any
feedback loop.
But I've never had that. Like, I've never had to worry about that. I just think how I was brought up in a Catholic family, which again is quite funny because my dad's Catholic, but my mum's Protestant. So although it was like, well, you can be raised Catholic and you go to a Catholic school and you'll be taught the understandings of what Catholicism is, it was never super strict, and there was never really a conversation between my mum and dad and us sitting down and being like, well, here's the differences between Catholicism and Protestantism, and I've got a Protestant side of the family and I've got a Catholic side of the family, and maybe that's why I'm quite as passionate about fuck FITBA, fuck religion. What we really should be targeting is the class issues.
Yeah.
Again, not getting into it. Certainly not a live
we're not.
episode because that's just cancellation waiting on happening, man. A big fucking banhammer right in the head. But long story short, I don't think that traditional religious institutions are necessarily set up as a means of control. I think there was good intentions and bad implementation. Kind of like socialism and communism. It's all about everybody getting the greater benefit, but it never quite works out that way. Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm okay with that.
I as I say, was fully ordained into the Catholic Church when I was younger, but it's not something I'm bothered about at all. Tell that to the priests. That you know what, and that's entirely a great thing that happens in Scotland, right? You mention anything that's ridiculous or sort of even slightly anti-Catholic, and they'll comment things about, oh, what about the Queen and fucking, what about Rangers fans? And then you hear the same thing about, like, if anything said about Protestants or Rangers, and it's what about the Pope and what about them letting like sex allegations of priests to children, etc. and blah blah blah. Like, cool. All we're identifying right here is that organised religion is fucking terrible. Why are we putting ourselves into I'm Catholic and he's Protestant and he came for a different scheme for me and all this tribal bullshit? It's nonsense.
Yeah, I want to just be as inflammatory as possible because I get to sit on the fence and play no part of it. So, like, don't you sit here and criticise, not you, don't you, if you're watching this right now and you want to sit here and criticise the Catholic Church because you fall on the opposite side of this, because of allegations of sexual abuse among the priesthood and the consistent covering up of all of those things.
Is it not ironic that the majority, if not every single one of the victims of that, were Catholic? So for the Catholics to continually be attacked, maybe you're kind of attacking the victims as well as the structure that allowed that.
Sure. Kind
of like women being blamed for being raped.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I just want to say, not because I feel this way, but because I'm inflammatory as a person. It's what I want to do, right? So you Rangers fans that want to take issue with Mike, my Catholic friend Mike.
You're Rangers fans. I like you didn't say Protestants.
I know.
You're playing right in it. I love it.
Oh yeah, I love steering into it. You Rangers fans that want to. I've got plenty of friends that are Rangers fans.
Oh, you current buns.
So I obviously don't mean this, but you Rangers fans that you want to attack Mike because of his Catholic background and you want to criticise his religion because the covering up of sexual abuse and all of that type shit. Shut up. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Let's not pretend that most of you motherfuckers don't exist because you're a long line of cousin fuckers.
Scotland in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Fuck you, get out of my country. No, I also don't believe in patriotism, but again, that's a completely different argument. Right, let's get into these comments because we've got quite a lot. Chris, you're going to empty your bank account if you don't stop it.
I'm getting a distinct feeling he's not.
Maybe not,
I like
but you
to
know
think
what I
that
mean.
Chris Lock, the only way I can justify it in my mind with all the support that we've had from Chris here is that Chris Lock is a Bitcoin millionaire, and I'm very happy for him.
And outside of that, the fact that other people were donating off the back of him kind of...
Yeah, so thank you very much for that.
Spoiling us is probably the best way to put it. We're going to have halves when you come here. And I'm going to get really pissed and I'm going to talk passionately in your ear about Buckethead and you're going to hate it. But then we'll be really good pals and I'll probably end up your best man and we'll have a podcast together.
Oh yeah, of course, Mike was my best man.
I sung you down the aisle.
Yeah. My friendship with Mike has lasted longer than my marriage.
Why do you always have to put awkward comments and things?
I love it. It's too much fun.
It's you or the back. So the fact you've had a traumatic experience and went, I know, I'll take the piss out of everybody else while I'm doing it.
Yeah, so Angus, your comment, last week you did a story about journalism ethics and enjoyed it. You're technically a journalist in a digital age. Do you think that with the engagement works, everyone will have a right to... and then your comment is too long and I can't get the rest of it, mate, so I don't know what it is that you're trying to say. I want to think that you're saying a right to a reply or something like that, but the reason I've not answered is because of that. So get it in the next couple of minutes, mate, because I'm going to end this stream because we've been going way too long.
Don't get all self-conscious because you're half cut.
Yeah.
The fact that people are still listening and paying attention to us is crazy.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
2.5 hours. Yous are fucking mental.
2.5 hours.
And don't get me wrong, loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
Lee, you've asked this question about 9 or 10 times now. I'm really sorry. We have been meaning to get back to it. Here, Mike, I'm getting half scooped. Me too. Thanks, mate. But wanted to know, in your careers in music, what's the most difficult thing you've had to overcome? That's a fucking great question, and I can give you a very honest answer. Recently, I have felt like I've pushed myself to the point of really turning music from a hobby into something that's a non-beneficial expectation. Not necessarily doing the podcast, not necessarily playing guitar in the house, but with the party can and stuff, with lockdown and stuff, because I wasn't like, my favourite part about the band isn't learning the music, although it's great fun when you can finally you're like, fuck, I know this riff and it works. Not recording, not hearing the fruits of our labour per se, but going and gigging and spending time meeting people that are like even like the chat tonight is a perfect example of that. I love just talking to people. I'm a total chatterbox. I can't help myself, especially with a drink in me. Levi nearly lost an ear that night. I was talking to him about Buckethead because it was just roasting.
Mainly because it was like my first experience of Scotland. I couldn't understand a fucking word you were saying. If I understood you, maybe we wouldn't be friends now.
To be fair, like this 6'1" guy coming up like, Buckethead, and no other words. Like fucking Captain Caveman coming at you.
Yeah.
But my hardest thing that I've had to overcome, to be totally honest with you, Lee, is knowing when to give yourself a break so that you don't lose the passion for something. And that's happened when I finished recording with Party Cannon the last, I think it was maybe 4 weeks ago approximately. We were in the studio.
It's good again.
You're all about that sauce, mate. You're dripping sauce. Jeez, oh, Chris. Jeez, oh. Long story short.
We're nearly going to NAM now.
I love it. Might communicate in partial words and noises. Is that a change for usual? Come on, that's me usually. Long story short, when you put too much focus on learning other people's stuff and not enjoying what you're learning, and all the focus is on the achievable outcome at the end of it, and not so much about the journey and how it makes you a better musician, and taking time away from that to enjoy other things you do. Like, I love just noodling over things and learning chords and hearing a song and being like, I'm going to work this out. There's only so much you can do that when you're playing 260 BPM death metal, and it's not a lot, to be totally honest. And that was my real big thing, was getting so scunnered and wrapped up in mental health stuff playing guitar that I couldn't really focus and didn't want to focus and had to take some time off.
Yep. Is that you? Do I get to answer?
Yeah, go for it. Sorry, am I rambling?
No, not at all. Not at all. I just want to not lose
Tell the truth, I'm
Angus's
talking shit.
point. So for me, the challenge was, and I'm still not there, but the challenge is overcoming one's own ego. Right? So when I started working professionally in music, it was as a shredder.
Mm-hmm.
And overcoming that sense of feeling that need to compete with what everybody else does or everybody else expects of you, and instead just steering into what it is that I want to do and the things that I think that I bring to the table. The things that I want to be working on and the things I want to be teaching are fretboard visualization and triad application and things like this. They're all relatively beginnery subjects. They're basic concepts, but I think that I'm passionate about them and I think I can do them well. Now, there's part of me that was hard to let go, because again, starting in the industry, I was working as a shredder. I was teaching alongside the best shredders in the country. The reason I know all these guys is because I was working with them on the teaching circuits.
Aye, that's it. If you weren't doing DVDs with them, you were doing tabs for them. You were
Exactly.
doing tabs with them. You were whatever. Aye,
and it's hard to keep that focus on what it is that, being the best you, rather than being the best idea of what other people expect you to be. My career would be in a very different place if I tried to keep up with my competition. If I felt the need to compete with people, be it when I was in that shred mentality, or now being more of a YouTuber, if I was worried about covering all the popular topics that everybody else is doing just because they're doing them. No, I want to do listening party videos because I think they're a good concept. And if somebody else wants to come in and do the same thing, but just give away the music and stream it and do the illegal way, I'm not just going to do it because their videos are popular. I'm going to do things the way I want to do them, because I'm getting better at that side of things of being the best me. So yeah,
I think on top of that as well, you talking about not so much your ego, but the competition per se, and being put in the same brackets as other people. I know you've had conversations with people, we've spoke about it on the channel, who have tried to haggle you in certain ways in regards to your hourly rate or your rate per minute of music or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And then you have to go, well, no, here's the evidence of why I
Yeah.
justify that, and that's the price because
Yeah.
you've came to me for a reason.
Uh,
And that's stepping beyond ego. That's understanding your value,
Sure.
never mind what you think it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
but what it's worth in the market.
Yeah, ego still comes out though. Like when I'm dealing with like a Stevie T fan or a Lucas Mann fan, and what they want to do is they want to criticize my playing. They want to say you're just jealous because you're not the player that they are. And when that happens, I don't feel the need to justify and describe why I am the player that I am. But sometimes I slip in that scenario where I feel the need to not justify my position, but reassure them that this person that you love because of the thing that they can do, yeah, fine. I can't do the thing that they can do, but they can't do any of the things I do, and that's okay.
And that's the,
You know,
that's the
like
whole point.
I have a good career. I make good money in out of music. I own a beautiful house, you know, and it's just mine now. I don't even share it with anyone. I own a beautiful house. I moved country. I do all right, and it's all come from music. So if you want to try and shit on
he
me,
stays in Wishy. He's
Yeah.
half his nut. He moved from fucking London
Yeah.
to Wishy.
if you want to shit on me because you know I can't shred 16th note triplets at 180 BPM like Stevie T can, like, all right, I'm still doing all right. You know,
Wait, Stevie T and Shred?
Yeah.
And,
not that I should have gone with Lucas Mann for an example or something like that, but you know what I mean. Like,
program is the word
Yeah.
you're looking for.
yeah, I'm all right. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I won't do the numbers on the. I'll do it like this. I just got sales figures for my books. I've sold.
Levi was telling me that he's now an actual billionaire. I fucking wish.
You can't.
I'd be riding the fucking coattails to the fucking death of it.
You
to the
can't
end.
make me feel bad about the fact that I can't pick 16th note triplets at 180 BPM because my guitar playing and my understanding of music it's done me good, you know, and overcoming that sense of ego has always been the most important thing because I came from a small town and I came from a rough upbringing with no money and I had to fight for every single fucking opportunity that I had, take opportunities from other people that weren't assertive enough to take those opportunities, and then I had to constantly fight in order to justify the positions. And it's hard to let go of those things and to be more chill about things. The thing I've got better with on social media over the last year or two is, sure, I still argue with a lot of people online.
Mm-hmm.
I get riled up, but I'm a lot better now, multiple times a week. I'll see a comment that I want to respond to, I'll type out what I want to say, like a
Delete it.
rant, and then I delete it and just move on with my day.
That's like me not giving people the finger when they do things wrong on the motorway. That's just me behaving myself. Nancy did a bit of running with the police.
Really?
So Nancy was driving to work one day and she was already pretty anxious. And she got to the lights just next to her work. I won't say the junction.
Sure.
But as you come up to the junction, it takes you off the motorway and you drive under a bridge at a set of traffic lights. And Nancy was about to go through those traffic lights as they were green. A car came in front of her, skidded across the road and blocked the road at an angle. Right? So incredibly dangerous driving.
Yeah.
Jumped out and confronted her, basically saying, "You nearly caused a 3-car crash on that motorway. I'm going to be sending my dash cam footage to the police." And Nancy was so taken aback, she didn't know what to say. Got to her work phone, me crying and stuff. And I'm not really an aggressive or a violent person in any way, shape or form, but I really wish Nancy had got the guy's regi plate, not to report him to the police, because I swear to God I would have flipped his car with a minute. No, I'm serious.
Sure.
Like, I don't give a fuck how bad you think somebody's driving is. You don't screech in front of them in your car, nearly cause a further accident, and jump out and shoot at a woman herself in the car in an intimidating manner, and then make out like you're on the right by saying I'll threaten the police on you.
Yeah.
So Nancy reported that to the police, quite rightly. Not only is it aggressive, that was more dangerous driving than Nancy's honest mistake. And the police's first line when she came on the phone, "What is it you're actually asking for the police to do tonight?" And Nancy right away was like, "There's no point me telling this one what's going on."
Yeah.
Like, I know the answer. I know what's coming next.
Yeah.
And essentially she got told, "You should expect to hear from us soon if that person reports the incident to the police.
Yeah.
But you need to phone us right at the time if something happens then."
Yeah, it's
Fuck off.
It's an incredible level of competence. It's like, what do I expect you to do about this? Not necessarily anything, right? But I want there to be a record of this, because if someone else phones in with something similar, and then someone else phones in with something similar, then you know you've got a problem on your hands that needs to be dealt with.
I think the people that are handling these calls are probably more like customer service advisors in that sense, like for a call centre rather than actual police. Investigators or call handlers. I think it's more a case of take the serious complaints and take the ones that you can already just basically say there's nothing we can do and it's in a basket.
I can answer Angus's question now. So you talked about last week's story about journalistic integrity, journalist age. Do I think that the way engagement works, everyone will have to do clickbait articles and shit like that to compete? Yes.
That's a really good way, a good question, to be honest. I think, aye.
And my channel has been stagnant for years now because I won't do it. I just won't do it. And, you know, if my channel never grows from where it is, I'm still going to keep making videos. I always make the videos that I want to make. And I'll develop a small audience based on the content I make. And I appreciate that small audience. Those people mean more to me than making content that I need to make in order to appeal to people that I don't want to fucking appeal to.
Case in point is Guitar Souls. We've been really lucky to have people who are interested in coming and chatting along with us. It's not a massive community, but it's a good, hearty, true, honest, grassroots community. In that sense, with everybody's got a shared love for music and guitar. Yeah. And that you and I aren't having to really... We have a couple of times, to be totally honest. Like, maybe we get quite a lot of Americans getting his shit when we're talking about stuff. Remember? Was it pro-life stuff we were talking about or something? But the significant majority of our interaction is with people who are interested in the content we're talking about and not necessarily whatever clickbaity titles could be put on it. Doesn't mean that the majority of what you see on YouTube is thumbnails of... Look at that bright text. Exactly. And it's so infuriating because you're like, man, you made that face like 9 videos ago and every screenshot you've done. Come on.
It's the worst because, like, it's one of those things where I look at it and it's like, I'll play the intellect here, right? I'm too smart for stuff like that to work on me.
You have to have a really high IQ to understand Rick and Morty.
Exactly. I've never watched Rick and Morty. I know what's going on because it's the game that I'm in, right? But also, and I'm sure most people do know what's going on. They're not stupid. I don't think people are stupid. I guess where things are different is that they don't care. They're happy to lap it up. In the same way that most people know that when they sit and watch American Idol or X Factor, they know it's like lowest common denominator bullshit. When I was younger, growing up, I watched soap operas. I know it's lowest common denominator bullshit. I still, to this day, enjoy things like Catfish or the Jeremy Kyle show, right? And I enjoy it because it's utter fucking nonsense. So I get it. Most people are into dumb content like that. It's just not the content I want to make because I don't want to appeal to people that crave that. If you want, I don't want to say hard-hitting journalism, but if you want honest opinions and thoughts on things in the music industry, coming from a perspective of somebody that has a lot of experience in the music industry, you'll probably enjoy my channel. If you want nerdy guitar-related content where I talk to you about the ins and outs of how things work in music, theory and application on the instrument, you're probably going to enjoy my channel. And if you want some opinion pieces where I talk about ways I think that the music industry or our guitar scene could be a little bit better, you're probably going to enjoy my channel.
And if you want a working class Ouija devil's advocate opinion in there, then you're probably going to enjoy the podcast. Yeah. Because that's my main merits, where I was born. And how aggressively I take points.
Yeah. I'm going to wind the podcast down now. I'm going to wind the podcast down.
Chris, what is wrong with you, man?
I like it. Just end it so I can sleep. You know what, Chris? No. We're going to go for another 15 hours just so we can bankrupt you. Like, stop.
Just funnily enough, as you're talking about that, you know who Moist Critical is? You know, the YouTuber who's like mega famous? No, I think he's got another sub-channel. It's called like Penguin Zero or whatever. You would know his face, 100% sure. Content creator, right? Mostly reaction stuff and him giving his opinion. He did one the other day where he was talking about how a Twitch streamer was actually being held hostage. And I was like, fucking hell, that looks like a serious title. And I clicked, it was clickbait, right? But what happened is there was a live uncapped sub stream. And what the guy said was, for every sub I get, I'll add like 10 minutes onto how long I'm going to stream. Every time he goes to sleep, his chat add at least 20 hours onto that, and he's been streaming for the best part of a week because he said that's what he was going to do, and they keep just hitting him with subs. That is a crazy social experiment. Yeah. I mean, that It's a bidding war.
I have 15 and 1, 15, and it's worth pointing out that Chris donated $15 and Chris Jordan donated £15 and a penny. So that's considerably more, actually. You've not gone 1 penny more there, mate. You've gone about 30% more.
This one goes to 11.
Yeah. So okay.
You're mad. Stop it.
Yeah.
You
know what we didn't do for this episode at all,
fan mail?
and this is what our first bonus episode will be. It'll be fan mail. We'll do fan mail. Because I didn't even open we had such a good time before this podcast, just having a catch up and eating dinner, that we were late to come in here and actually set things off.
Well, we weren't too late, but it was just nice socialising.
Yeah.
I've had a really good time just talking away.
Good. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for all of the support. 100 episodes. Here's to 100 more. Oh, you've got no more fucking drink.
Sorry, I can drink some.
I'll tan it, hang on,
water.
and then we can both drink water.
I'll be got my bed when I get home.
Right, let's drink sugary water.
Slanjava, son. Slanjava.
Delicious. Thank you, Mike, for 100 episodes. It's been great fun, and I'm looking forward to 100 more. Who knows? Maybe let's see where the podcast takes us this year. Maybe we'll get out on the road, meet some people, shake some hands, tell some stories, add more stories to our history and all that good stuff. And as always, Mike can crawl home. He lives like 100 meters away.
I won't be crawling. I'll be fucking cartwheeling home. Kidding on.
Yeah.
This is me in like 1 or 2 drinks. Might get a bit tipsy. Might fall asleep. 3 or 4 drinks. Wee bit of party comes out. 5 or 6, and it's like Scotland taps off in the street.
Yeah, we wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for Mike. But more importantly, we wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for you guys.
That's it.
So this podcast is as much yours as it is ours. We do everything and owe everything to you guys, and we wouldn't have a podcast without you. So please do support the show. Grab a t-shirt. Don't super chat. No more. Thank you very much. Mainly because YouTube takes 30% of that. So, you know.
Beyond that, come on, you behave. There's a lot of comments in it. Fuck off. You know what? Name redacted. What they call that round about here is called the Grand National, and that's when you chat people's doors and jump the fences, like the horses at the Grand National. I'm not playing Granny, which is the other nickname for it. Yeah. Chris, come on, man. I mean, I'll sit here and get super pissed and maybe want to do it, but at the end of the day, the only people that are going to really hurt are your wallet and my liver. Just being honest, right?
You're Scottish, mate. Your liver will be fine.
I don't know about that.
You've evolved to have a fine liver. You'll be absolutely fine.
We get a quick 5 minutes to quickly rip through whatever's been commented in the last kind of 10-15 minutes, and we'll just
no, because what's going to happen is going to be the exact same thing. We'll get to the end of it. More comments will come in. More super chats will come in.
Of course, we're going to get mayor. Angus is already talking me passing it the bus seat. Just wait to get up the road, mate. I've not even fucking sat down in it yet.
Sub-editor, local beta, journalists are told that their articles don't get a requisite number of clicks. They get yeah, absolutely.
I can believe that.
Yeah,
Nancy's a journalist, but luckily enough, she works doing broadcast news, and she is one of 2 staff. It's her and the actual main editor, and they get a lot of autonomy, and it's fantastic because I know that Nancy has enough freedom to do things in her own way and to get really good at writing interesting stories without it being biased or fringing anything. But not so much where she's been basically funneled into this is your story and this is what you need to say, which is great.
Someone wants to know if you're driving home. Again, there's no point. It's like 100 meters up the fucking road. It'd be fine. I'll walk him home. Okay, how's that? I'll walk Mike home with my dogs as an opportunity to give him another wee walk.
Have you got a pair of rollerblades?
No.
Because I could absolutely get up the road in a set of rollerblades. Levi's not joking when he says like I am a street away. Levi stays in one street, you turn right and you're on my street.
Yeah.
This cunt just keeps moving closer to me. I'm pretty sure he's going to be in my garage next year. But in a good way.
Can't get away from me. So, yeah, one more time, guys. This show would not exist without your love and support. Not financial love and support. It wouldn't work without your love and support. So please do. If you enjoy the show, please do go and tell your friends. And if you hate the show, then go and tell your enemies. Either way, get the name out there. Get the word out there. We love you all very much. We are going to leave now before Chris Lock gives us more fucking money. The fucking maniac. We've had a great night though, and yeah, we look forward to doing something like this again in the future. Who knows? Maybe one of the perks of being a Guitar Sauce subscriber is a live stream. we're not entirely sure on that one yet. We don't
I'm
know
totally
what's
down
gonna
with that,
happen.
man. Even just like a topic that's brought up by people who want us to deep dive on it, and then we just get right in about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, when we brought it up earlier on, as Levi said, it was more about getting everybody's ideas on what would be a good way for us to ask for support and not be paywall and stuff or ring fence and stuff, and saying, well, if you're one of the outside peasants, if you're the working class, if you're the fucking proletariat, then you can only get this. But the rest of us, Tory bourgeoisie in the middle. Oh, come on, Chris, behave. I'm not even finished talking yet. We definitely need to
If
end
you
this
don't
one.
end this, it's going to be 15-4 in a second. All right.
I see it happening. Long story short, we love you all. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you more than I can even say for the fact that you've tuned in, and there's people still here hanging on 3 hours into the fucker. Yous are more mental than us,
Yeah. But
and that's for saying it.
Mike, until next time.
Be good. Thanks very much.
Bye.
And Chris, keep your fucking money.
Bye, fuckers. For another 100.